Chapter 1221A Forbidden Creature Corpse. Chapter 3. Where is the limit of the endless Tao? Yi Tian is still unable to spy on it. Of course, this does not prevent him from improving his strength. Even if he could not be promoted to invincible Daozu for a long time, as long as his strength continues to improve, he can still kill invincible Daozu, and even as long as the Forbidden Tao technique is strong enough and the Forbidden Tao attainment is higher, he is even expected to be able to compete with the half-step domain ancestor. 1 or 2. Of course, this step is very difficult. One day soon. The ancient world of Xuanshu is very calm, and the dark forbidden area is relatively peaceful, and there are only small-scale fights. However, a huge black shadow floated in the dark forbidden area, and at the same time, a terrifying biological pressure was passed on. What is that? Several 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors were looking for the forbidden Zerg, and suddenly saw a huge black shadow, and felt the pressure of the terrifying creature, and their bodies trembled involuntarily, as if they saw a real horror. They wanted to use their divine sense to investigate the situation over there, but after the divine sense extended, it was difficult to move forward, and they couldn't see what the black shadow was. They did not advance rashly, for fear of encountering danger. So, one of the 729th Heavenly Tao ancestors performed a pupil technique at the level of the Great Thousand Tao technique, thousands of double eyes. Boom! The void was broken open layer by layer, and the pupil light broke through the darkness, looking directly at the unknown black shadow body. Finally, he saw it. It is an incomparably huge body, like a stalwart world, a ray of breath can crush eternity, and it is not known how many levels higher than the so-called primordial chaotic life, as if it is a truly supreme existence. From the outside, this is a creature similar to an eagle, but it is covered with black and gold scales, covering the whole body, and has 4 claws, all of which are extremely sharp. This is a forbidden creature. The 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor said in horror. He is not sure whether this forbidden creature has died or not. If not, the 3 of them will be killed in an instant, and there is no chance of life. The legendary forbidden creature, that is a terrifying existence comparable to the ancestors of the domain. Retreat. Everyone get back. This is the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor. They didn't dare to retreat too fast, so as not to cause fluctuations, but slowly retreated silently, until they retreated far, far away, and could no longer perceive the existence of the forbidden creature, and only then did they speed up and fly back to where they were. Base. Soon, a message spread across the major bases. A forbidden creature appeared. The news was simply too shocking, and it also made countless people terrified. After all, once a forbidden creature appeared, they would all be killed, and there was no chance of life at all. However, Yi Tian got the most timely news. A fallen forbidden creature. Yi Tian's heart moved, revealing full interest. The first thing he thought of was the forbidden talent of the forbidden creature. Once the talent of the forbidden creature was copied, it would be of great help to his strength. Secondly, what he thought of was the chance and treasures on the forbidden creatures. Swish! Yi Tian's copy body. The Dark King was dispatched, and followed many of Haifeng Mountain's most powerful Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors to the fallen forbidden creature. And the half-step ancestors of Haifeng Mountain had already gone, and they didn't wait for Yi Tian at all. After all, for the ancestors of the half-step domain, what a great opportunity this is when it comes to the corpses of forbidden creatures. If it was in the former realm of the gods in heaven, I am afraid that even the ancestors of the domain would have to fight. Where would they get these half-step domain ancestors? Not long after, Yi Tian also came to the place where the corpse of the forbidden creature was. At the place where the corpses of the forbidden creatures fell, there are already many Supreme Tao ancestors, invincible Tao ancestors, and half-step domain ancestors gathered here. As for the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor, they did not dare to approach, because their physical bodies could not bear the escaped power of forbidden creatures, and they had to have a forbidden body to be able to bear this kind of power. Therefore, those 7th-level Taoist ancestors with forbidden bodies can also approach here, but how many 7th-level Taoist ancestors can have forbidden bodies at the level of the strongest Taoist ancestors? Therefore, most of the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors can't get close to this place, and even if they have the chance, they won't be able to get there. 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors are not qualified to approach, and even weaker Tao ancestors have no hope. It really is a forbidden creature. Yi Tian also came here as the Dark King, saw the corpse of the forbidden creature, felt the pressure of the forbidden creature, and said in surprise. What made him even more curious was that this forbidden creature seemed to be completely intact and had not suffered any injuries. How powerful are the forbidden creatures, comparable to the ancestors of the domain? If they did not encounter tragic killings, how could they have fallen? As for the lifespan, it's simply impossible. The lifespan of forbidden creatures is almost the same as that of the forbidden area of darkness. The forbidden area of darkness is not destroyed, and the lifespan of forbidden creatures is immortal. Could it be that the soul was annihilated? Yi Tian guessed. In addition, he was also curious about whether the Lord of Function Mountain of High Function would appear. Even if Function Mountain Lord is the legendary domain ancestor, he would be interested in the corpse of the forbidden creature, and he might take away the corpse of this forbidden creature. If Function Mountain Master had come, he should have come at his speed, but he hasn't come now. Is it because he gave up? Could it be that Function Mountain Master has more important plans, and even the corpses of forbidden creatures can't be reached? Bring him out in advance. Yi Tian asked curiously. At this time, the ancestors of Shenshu Dao, Yongheng Daozu, Jengjin Daozu, and other half-step ancestors of 467 bases in Haifeng Mountain are all here, and they are still studying the corpse of this forbidden creature. Receive. The head of the Qinglong Palace headed to Bu and tried to take away the corpse of the creature, but a shock came, and the body was cracked, and it was actually injured. No, Qinglong Palace Master shook his head. The forbidden creatures have exceeded all the rules and cannot be brought into the inner world or taken away. Unless the rules of our inner world are comparable to the dark forbidden realm, but that is impossible. Qinglong Palace Master, you have long said that you can't take it away, but you don't believe it. Even the ancestors couldn't take away the corpses of forbidden creatures. Open, and then continue to extract the power of the forbidden creature's corpse. After special treatment, the body fragments of the forbidden creature can be taken away. We are not domain ancestors, and there is really no way to take this forbidden creature's corpse. Eternal Daozu said with a smile. Immediately, the ancestors of the half-step domain flew in from the giant mouth of this forbidden creature's corpse, preparing to enter the forbidden creature's inner world to find opportunities and snatch treasures. At this time, Yi Tian also approached the corpse of the forbidden creature, spread over it with his copying talent, and barely touched the corpse of the forbidden creature. Sure enough, there is a forbidden talent. Yi Tian is overjoyed. Chapter 12:22 5 Worlds. Fourth more. Forbidden talent. Dark scales. Forbidden talent. Golden wings. Forbidden talent. Swallowing gold. In Yi Tian's copying talent induction, this taboo creature has 3 taboo talents in total, and from the information of copying talent exploration, we know that this forbidden creature is the forbidden creature, the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. Copy. Copy. 1. Copy. Yi Tian succeeded in copying all the 3 taboo talents, and was immediately overjoyed. The other side. Yi Tian's body came with Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu, but Xiao Yu and Yi Yu did not come. They are still guarding the human world and managing the affairs of the human world. They have rarely come to hunt down the forbidden Zerg. Father, are we going in? Yi Xingchen asked. Wait, Yi Tian pondered. The situation inside is still uncertain. If there is danger, you and I may not be able to come out in time. Yi Xingchen nodded and obeyed his father's arrangement. A little bit of time passed, and the ancestors of the half-step domain quickly delivered a message. *##. As a result, an invincible Dao ancestor named Zhejiang Daozu flew into the huge mouth of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle and entered its inner world. Yi Tian and the cloned body Dark King also entered the huge mouth of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. And after many Supreme Daozu and Invincible Daozu entered the body of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle, a group of powerhouses flew from the dark forbidden area in the distance, including some Supreme Daozu and Invincible Daozu, and even 2 mysterious Daozu. The figure crossed over in an instant and entered the body of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle, but its strength could not be revealed much. These 2 people may be invincible Dao ancestors, or they may be half-step ancestors. In short, with the appearance of the corpse of the forbidden creature, the dark-winged Dapeng eagle, many Taoist ancestors who had never appeared before appeared, obviously wanting to gain some opportunities from the body of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. After entering from the giant mouth of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle, there is a long passage, which is the esophagus, and at this moment, the countless dark taboo forces in this passage have formed a hurricane. It will be torn into countless pieces. Therefore, even if you have a forbidden body, if you don't have the strength of the supreme Taoist ancestor, you can't get in at all. That's courting death. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen were naturally afraid of this taboo hurricane, easily blocked the hurricane, and quickly penetrated into the inner world of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. 5 worlds. Yi Tian sensed the world fluctuations of the 5 worlds. These 5 worlds should correspond to the 5 internal organs of the dark-winged eagle, and also represent the 5 worlds of gold, wood, water, fire, and soil. Each world is probably comparable to an ancient world. If it is normal, Yi Tian and the others don't even think about invading the 5 worlds in the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. But at this moment, it is different. The dark-winged Dapeng eagle has fallen. There is no wound on the outside, but the inner world lacks normal operation and begins to crack. As a result, the inner world is a mess, and countless voids are covered with cracks. Be careful, Yi Tian reminded his son Yi Xingchen and daughter Yi Xingyu. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu nodded and followed behind Yi Tian honestly. Since there is a Dark King leading the way, Yi Tian's body can just follow the established route, and the danger is not very big. I saw Yi Tian pass through the void cracks, constantly shifting the route, and finally penetrated into the first world, the world of fire. The world of fire represents the position of the heart, so they have come to a world opened up in the heart of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. The rules are even stronger than the ancient world. After Yi Tian came in, he was surprised. But if you think about it carefully, this is one of the 5 worlds in the body of a forbidden creature, and it is normal that the rules are strong. A lot of forbidden wonders. Yi Tian sensed it casually and said. Before, the ancestors of the half-step domain must have come in, but they have not taken away these forbidden and strange objects. They should not look down on them. Certainly time is also very important to them, and there is no need to collect these things that are of little value to them. Forbidden wonders. Shish, Yi Tian constantly shuttles through the areas of the fire world, constantly collecting these forbidden strange objects, which is almost equivalent to picking up forbidden strange objects. The other Supreme Tao ancestors and Invincible Tao ancestors are also collecting taboo strange objects and have no time to fight, and everyone is very friendly. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to collect about 100,000 forbidden curious objects, many of which were top-level forbidden curious objects. It's a pity that he didn't collect a single taboo treasure, apparently the ancestors of the half-step domain took it away. Certainly, in addition to forbidden strange things, the world of fire is not without good things. The world of fire, under a void crack. A famous Taoist ancestor and an invincible Taoist gathered here, and Yi Tian, Yi Xingchen, and Yi Xingyu also came here. Everyone's eyes are fixed on a blood lake. This is not an ordinary blood lake, but a blood lake formed by the blood of forbidden creatures, which contains terrifying energy. Of course, this blood lake is naturally impossible to be all blood, otherwise the strongest Tao ancestors and the invincible Tao ancestors who were present would have gone crazy. And even the half-step ancestors would not let this place go, and they would have collected this blood long ago, gone. In fact, this blood river is a little bit of blood leaking from the internal bleeding of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle through this void crack. After a long period of evolution, it has been merged with the power of darkness and taboo, and this has turned into this blood lake. You don't take this blood lake, I'll do it. A supreme Taoist ancestor had just arrived, and when he saw this blood lake, he couldn't help but speak. Immediately, he took action to collect this blood lake. However, a black tentacle appeared in the blood lake, which instantly penetrated the body of the supreme Taoist ancestor, killing the opponent in one blow. Stupid, I didn't even see the forbidden bloodline creature under the blood lake. An invincible Taoist scorned the road. If it's not dangerous, how could they be? The blood lake is very valuable. Just tap the water of the blood lake and bring it with you, and you can extract the energy that is suitable for the cultivation of the strong Taoist ancestors and the invincible Taoist ancestors. Liquid. Everyone, let's join hands. This blood lake has already given birth to the forbidden bloodline creatures. The strength is far from the ordinary invincible Daozu. I am afraid it is comparable to the top invincible Daozu. If we don't cooperate, I'm afraid there is no way Wang Zhao to take it. Take this forbidden blood lake. If we waste time, it will be difficult for us to obtain more opportunities. Time is a resource, don't waste time. An invincible Daozu suggested. Okay, let's join forces and destroy this forbidden bloodline creature first. The invincible Taoist ancestors and the strongest Taoist ancestors agreed. Wow, an invincible Daozu urged a chain-shaped taboo weapon to extend directly under the blood lake, forcibly pulling the taboo bloodline creature out. Roar! A forbidden bloodline creature resembling the shape of an octopus appeared, and a terrifying aura filled the audience, shocking the audience. Go! An invincible Daozu, Zhejiang Daozu took action. Yi Tian, Yi Xingchen, and Yi Xingyu also shot, attacking this forbidden bloodline creature. So many powerhouses took action, and almost instantly tore the body of the forbidden bloodline creature, severely injuring it. After a few breaths, this forbidden bloodline creature fell and died. Chapter 12:23 Forbidden Blood Crystals. First update, please complete order. Once the forbidden bloodline creature dies, everyone begins to divide the blood lake. The invincible Tao ancestors have more points, the supreme Tao ancestors have less points, and Yi Tian has less points than the invincible Tao ancestors, so he has no opinion. However, when the blood lake gradually dried up and completely exposed a treasure at the bottom of the blood lake, the situation suddenly changed. I saw black and red crystals at the bottom of the blood lake, exuding wisps of life breath and taboo rules. It is a blood crystal formed by the coagulation of the blood of a forbidden creature. This is a forbidden blood crystal that takes a long time to evolve. A forbidden blood crystal is comparable to a low-level forbidden weapon. 1. A Taoist exclaimed, "Forbidden blood crystals are detached things in one of the existences that ignore the rules, so they cannot be captured by spiritual consciousness." Before everyone's spiritual consciousness probed the bottom of the lake, they did not detect the forbidden blood crystals. Many glanced at them with their eyes, and there are more than 60 forbidden blood crystals, and the Supreme Tao Ancestor and the Invincible Tao Ancestor here are far more than 60 people. "We want these forbidden blood crystals," an Invincible Daozu announced domineeringly. His meaning is very clear: these Invincible Tao Ancestors asked for these forbidden blood crystals, and the Supreme Tao Ancestors can leave. Why? A top 467.2 strong Taoist ancestor was not convinced. "Only by strength," the Invincible Ancestors said coldly. Wow, a Supreme Taoist ancestor couldn't help it, and rushed into the bottom of the lake at the fastest speed, trying to capture the forbidden blood crystal. He is so hungry for forbidden blood crystals. The taboo blood crystal seems to be equivalent to a low-level taboo weapon. That is because taboo weapons are very rare in the vast sea world, but now in the ancient world of Xuanxu, there are too many taboo strange things, so it is not too difficult to create a taboo weapon. Today, if you want to exchange a low-level forbidden weapon for a forbidden blood crystal, it is too much. Moreover, even in the vast sea world, almost no one is willing to exchange forbidden blood crystals for forbidden weapons, because the use of forbidden blood crystals is too great. The forbidden blood crystal can repair the original injury, which is enough to attract many Supreme Taoist ancestors who cannot be promoted to the Invincible Taoist because of the original injury. In addition, the forbidden blood crystal is one of the best cultivation treasures to enhance the dark forbidden power, and it can also allow the 7th level heavenly ancestor to master the dark forbidden power. It is conceivable how valuable it is. If the energy of the forbidden blood crystal is too huge and too advanced for the true ancestors to bear, otherwise CJFI, the forbidden blood crystal is also a supreme treasure for the true ancestors, and can master the dark forbidden power at the true ancestor level. Ha ha ha, as long as I capture some forbidden blood crystals, I can repair the original injury I have suffered in the past, and I can also make my dark forbidden power soar, and the forbidden body can reach the realm of small achievement or even the realm of great achievement. The strength will be skyrocketed by leaps and bounds. 11. The strongest Daozu, Yuming Daozu said excitedly. However, just as he rushed into the bottom of the lake and was about to take away the forbidden blood crystal, a red brilliance instantly penetrated his body, killing him in one blow. The one who shot was the Invincible Taoist ancestor of the Tianzong, the Invincible Taoist ancestor. Unparalleled Daozu, why did you kill Yuming Daozu of our heavenly demon sect? You can completely injure him, there is no need to kill him. The Invincible Daozu of Tianmozong, Kuhei Daozu said angrily. The heavenly demon sect is one of the 8 heavenly forces. In the past, there was no Invincible Taoist ancestor, but now the strength of the major forces is skyrocketing. That is Kuhei Daozu. But even so, Tianmozong has not been promoted to the 9 heavens. The main reason is that the Heavenly Emperor Palace has raised the threshold of the Zhouzhongtian forces. Only 10 Supreme Taoist ancestors and 3 or more Invincible Taoist ancestors can be ranked in the Zhouzhongtian forces, otherwise it can only be regarded as an 8th layer. In fact, in addition to the Heavenly Demon Sect, many Eightfold Heaven forces also gave birth to the 9 Heavenly Invincible Tao ancestor, such as King Kong City, Tianjian Sect and other 8 heavenly forces, all gave birth to the 9 Heavenly Tao ancestor, but there was only one Invincible Tao ancestor. The strength is not very strong, and he can't even beat Yi Tian. If he dares to snatch the forbidden blood crystal, he is courting death. Wushuang Daozu said coldly. Suddenly, some people found that one of the forbidden blood crystals disappeared, and another disappeared. Damn, there are people stealing forbidden blood crystals. Unparalleled Daozu was furious. Boom, the power of an invincible Daozu extended into the bottom of the lake, trying to find the unknown person. However, they could not find it. In a very short time, nearly 50 forbidden blood crystals disappeared. And at this time, they didn't care, they went directly to the bottom of the lake and started to snatch the remaining forbidden blood crystals, and the battle became a group. And almost in a very short period of time, the forbidden blood crystal was robbed. At this time, Yi Tian left with Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu, and did not participate in the battle to snatch the forbidden blood crystals. However, he was very happy. In another place, the Dark King, Liu Huo Daozu, etc. gathered together. As soon as they met, Liu Huo Daozu sent a voice transmission. Dark King, you just captured the forbidden blood crystal, right? Why does Liu Huo Daozu think it's me? Yi Tian said with a smile. That means of invisibility, only you have used it, and the invincible Daozu can't detect it. Besides, you were not there just now, so I know it's you. Flowing Fire Road Ancestral Road. I don't admit it. Yi Tian responded. He is not stupid. If he admits it, it may not be a good thing if the first-rate Fire Daozu is publicized. Although it is said that the Taoist ancestors of the same force, it does not mean that the Taoist ancestors of the same force have intrigue, and it is clean. No, it's not. Liu Huo Daozu smiled slightly. If it is an ordinary Supreme Tao ancestor of Haifeng Mountain, he can also coerce and lure him, and exchange some forbidden blood crystals at a very low price. But the Dark King is too powerful, but he is the strongest Taoist ancestor who has killed the commander-level Tabu Zerg, and he may not be able to beat the Dark King. If the Dark King admits that he has robbed the forbidden blood crystals, he may trade a few forbidden blood crystals through his connections. But now that the Dark King doesn't admit it, he doesn't either. At this time, there are still many good things in the world of fire, but the invincible Taoist ancestors and most of the strong Taoist ancestors were not interested in finding it here, but went to the world of wood at the fastest speed. The world of wood is a world composed of countless trees, and the number of forbidden strange objects in this world is more than that of the world of fire. Yi Tian and the others came to this world and immediately began to collect forbidden strange objects. It didn't take long before the collection of forbidden curiosities was almost done. But soon, someone discovered a fragment of the forbidden continent in the world of wood. There was a forbidden spiritual root tree on it, and it was a top-level forbidden spiritual root tree, and its value was extremely huge. So, an invincible Daozu broke into the shard of the forbidden continent. Chapter 1224 Show Strength, Kazuna Kazuna. Top Taboo Spirit Root Tree. 1. Yi Tian was also moved, and immediately went to compete for the top Taboo Spiritual Root Tree. However, he did not let Yi Xingchen, Yi Xingyu and the others snatch the Taboo Spiritual Root Tree. After all, their strength is far from the invincible Daozu. Once they go, it will be very dangerous. Moreover, when it was so chaotic, he might not be able to protect the two of them. So ever, Yi Tian and Duplicate Body Dark King both went. Soon, he came to the Forbidden Continent fragment. This Forbidden Continent fragment is suspended in the void, which is incompatible with the Forbidden Continent. At this time, the top-level Taboo Spiritual Root Tree had been destroyed by the fighting of the Invincible Tao ancestors, and turned into pieces one by one, and the Invincible Tao ancestors snatched the spiritual roots and tree fragments. Swish! Yi Tian and the cloned body Dark King also flew over and joined the snatch team. The Dark King is famous, and he is qualified to snatch the Taboo Spirit Root Tree, and the Invincible Tao ancestors also recognize it. But Yi Tian's main body Wanfa Daozu did not show the combat power of the Invincible Daozu, nor did he have an amazing record, which caused some Invincible Daozu to be unhappy. Go away, even the most powerful Taoist ancestors dare to snatch the top Taboo Spirit Root Tree. An Invincible Tao ancestor shouted coldly at Yi Tian. This Invincible Daozu is none other than the Invincible Daozu. Wuxuang Daozu slashed towards Yi Tian with a long sword of medium taboo weapon level. Yi Tian sneered and crushed Wuxuang Daozu's sword energy with one hand. How is this possible? Wuxuang Daozu was shocked. He is the Invincible Daozu, and he is not weak among the Invincible Daozu. His sword is enough to kill a top Supreme Daozu in seconds, even if those relatively strong Daozu can resist his attack, but absolutely it won't be easy. But Yi Tian actually blocked his attack with his hands, which was too exaggerated. In fact, Yi Tian used the Forbidden Dao technique, Ju Jijia, which can defend the whole body, so that he can block the attack of Wuxuang Daozu with his hands. Yi Tian did not counterattack Wuxuang Daozu, which was completely unnecessary, but used the Forbidden Dao technique, Shadow Escape, to snatch those top Forbidden Spiritual Root Tree fragments at an extremely fast speed. Unparalleled Daozu cursed inwardly, and did not deliberately find fault, looking for the trouble of Wanfa Daozu Yi Tian, and also began to snatch other Taboo Spiritual Root Tree fragments. It didn't take long for the Forbidden Spirit Root Tree fragments to be robbed, and not a single fragment remained. These Invincible Tao ancestors are also very straightforward, leaving immediately after the snatch, without wasting any time. But when Wuxuang Daozu was about to leave, Yi Tian stopped him. Unparalleled Daozu, you attacked me for no reason before, so you want to leave? Yi Tian said coldly. HMPH, you're just the supreme Dao ancestor, what about my attack? Unparalleled Daozu did not hesitate at all. Then let you see the strength of my supreme Taoist ancestor. Yi Tian shot. He did not use the forbidden Dao technique, Darkness Pole Dao Spear, because once the forbidden Dao technique is performed exactly the same, it is almost concluded that Yi Tian and the Dark King are the same person. After all, the Dao technique can be exactly the same, and many Dao ancestor legions must be almost the same. Daoism. But taboo Daoism is absolutely different, otherwise it is the same person. Therefore, the Dark King usually only uses the two forbidden Dao techniques, the Shadow Thorn and the Dark Pole Dao Spear, and as the ancestor of the Wanfa Dao, Yi Tian will naturally not use these two Dao techniques. I saw that he took out a long knife of the top forbidden weapon level, which was a forbidden weapon he forged later, and was only used for the body. Although he does not use the Shadow Thorn and the Dark Pole Spear, Yi Tian is able to use the Shadow Escape and defend the forbidden Dao, Juji armor, and the combat power is almost too much, plus the support of the top forbidden weapon level knife, enough stop the unparalleled Daozu. Boom! Wuxuang Daozu was stopped and fought with Yi Tian, but because Yi Tian did not use the forbidden Dao technique of attack, he was suppressed throughout the whole process. Can be suddenly, a spear pierced his neck instantly and took away a large amount of blood. This blow hurt him. Dark King, it's you. Unparalleled Daozu was furious. Wow, the Dark King appeared, and it was the attack that he had just launched. With the strangeness of the Shadow Thorn, Wuxuang Daozu couldn't react at all, and he couldn't stop it. Immediately, Yi Tian and his cloned body, the Dark King, attacked the Wuxuang Daozu at the same time, and the Wuxuang Daozu didn't have the strength to fight back at all, and the injury soon became serious. Unexpected. In the distance, the breath of an invincible Taoist came across, and it was another invincible Taoist of Mi Tianzong. Ask for flowers. Gone. Yi Tian is no longer ready to fight. The invincible Daozu of Mi Tianzong is more than Wuxuang Daozu. If he wants to kill Wuxuang Daozu, the other invincible Daozu of Mi Tianzong will definitely not ignore it, and the invincible Daozu of Haifeng Mountain will not follow Yi Tian. Therefore, at most, he would hurt Wuxuang Daozu, and it would be unrealistic to want to kill Wuxuang Daozu. Haha, Yi Tian and the Dark King disappeared in an instant, leaving behind the unparalleled Dao ancestor with multiple wounds on his body. It's okay. Mi Tianzong's soul-piercing Daozu appeared and asked. It's okay. Wuxuang Daozu shook his head. You don't provoke that Dao ancestor of 10,000 laws. He has a deep family background. If his combat power is not much weaker than you, if he offends him with the bottom of his blade, one day he becomes an ancestor, and you will be dead. I see. Unparalleled Daozu nodded. Yi Tian sorted out the top-level spiritual root tree fragments that he had snatched, and this small fragment was comparable to the entire spiritual root liquid of the entire forbidden spiritual root tree. Once, the forbidden spiritual root tree he robbed was at best equivalent to a top-level strange object, and this forbidden spiritual root tree was comparable to a top-level forbidden treasure. That is to say, the ancestors of the half-step domain did not detect the existence of this forbidden spiritual root tree, so they missed it, otherwise it would not be their turn to be the most powerful Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors. So many top-level taboo spiritual root tree fragments are enough to double my cultivation base. Yi Tian estimated. Next, Yi Tian and his sons and daughters continued to look for opportunities in the world of wood, but they didn't find many good things, so they left here and entered the world of water in the body of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. Water world. After Yi Tian came in, he did not sense the aura of the forbidden strange object, but there were still many supreme Dao ancestors and invincible Dao ancestors. These Taoist ancestors are hunting the water beasts of the water world. The water world is a world that presents a boundless ocean, and there are countless aquatic animals living here. Yi Tian learned that these water beasts belong to a special race. Strictly speaking, they belong to water source beasts. Moreover, through the introduction, he knew that these water source beasts can repair the original injury, nourish the body, and repair the defects of the body. Immediately, Yi Tian, Yi Xingchen, and Yi Xingyu also joined the ranks of hunting the water source beasts. Chapter 1225 All Things, Stars, Sand. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. In the water world, the strength of the water source beasts is not weak at all, and they all have the combat power of the Taoist ancestor. However, the Taoist ancestors who can enter here are all powerful Taoist ancestors, so these water source beasts are not opponents at all, and they were massacred by the Taoist ancestors. Yi Tian also easily beheaded the water source beasts and collected their corpses. The world of water is very large, and there are also a lot of water source beasts, but the water source beasts have the combat power of Tao ancestors, but their life-saving ability is very poor. In addition, the strength of the strongest Tao ancestors is too strong, and they are quickly killed, almost. Subsequently, Yi Tian came to the world of Earth with the other supreme Taoist ancestors, and as soon as he came here, he sensed the battle of the half-step ancestors. Boom! The terrifying aftermath of the battle came from somewhere in the world of Earth, so that many supreme Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors did not dare to enter, 467, into that place, for fear of something bad. They were bombarded and killed by the aftermath. Many Taoist ancestors were very curious, why did these half-step ancestors fight? There is no doubt that it must be a treasure of high value, otherwise there is no need to kill each other. Somewhere in the world of Earth, grains of sand are suspended in the air, as if fixed here. And Qinglong Palace Master and Eternal Tao Ancestor are all snatching the grains of sand, and they are fighting for this, and the void is constantly cracking. This is not ordinary sand, but all things star sand. For these half-step ancestors, these sands are real treasures. All things star sand can help the half-step ancestors break the shackles of the flesh, and can have up to 10% of the fleshly power of the ancestors. This level of flesh is also called the realm of all things flesh, and the strength hangs other half-step ancestors. The Qinglong Palace Master is very powerful, but he has not condensed the physical state of all things, so he also wants to capture these all things, stars and sands, so as to break the shackles of the physical body and reach the physical state of all things. In this way, his strength will skyrocket, completely surpassing the ordinary half-step domain ancestors. But 1 or 2 grains of all things star sand is definitely not enough, so they need to snatch all things star sand as much as possible. Unexpected, a black shadow tore through the void and took away 3 grains of all things star sand, attracting everyone's attention. The Qinglong Palace Master was furious and attacked the opponent with a single strike of the forbidden Taoist technique, but was blocked by the opponent calmly. Obviously, this is also a half-step ancestor, but the other party covered his face and breath, so he couldn't see through his identity at all. Your Excellency is the half-step ancestor of the Black Wind Mountain. The main road of Qinglong Palace. Anyway, this person is definitely not the palace lord of the Tiandi Palace, he can be sure of this. When the Eternal Taoist heard this, he sneered, "Don't say that the unfamiliar half-step domain ancestor is the half-step domain ancestor of our Haifeng Mountain. There are not so many half-step domain ancestors in our Haifeng Mountain, maybe it is your Tiandi Palace. Half-step ancestors, everyone be careful, so as not to be attacked by the people of the Tiandi Palace. It doesn't matter which force's half-step ancestor I am, the point is that I am also qualified to compete for the stars and sands of all things." The mysterious half-step domain ancestor whispered. The Qinglong Palace Master snorted coldly and did not stop the half-step domain ancestor, but continued to snatch all the stars and sands in other places. There are not many things, stars and sands in this area, and they were quickly robbed by these half-step ancestors. And the ancestors of the half-step domain fought each other to separate life and death, but it could not end in a short time, so they did not fight, but continued to search for all things, stars, sand, and sand in the world of Earth. Many powerful Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors have not left the world of Earth, and they are also looking for treasures in the world of Earth. After all, the treasures that the ancestors of the half-step domain can be born with can be born here. If they find one, wouldn't they send it? Father, what treasures are the ancestors of the half-step domain fighting for? Yi Xingchen asked curiously. I don't know. Yi Tian shook his head, but let's be careful and try not to meet the half-step ancestors. He will always expand the copy talent, check the surrounding situation, and once he finds that there is a half-step ancestor approaching, he will leave with his son and daughter. Unexpected, Yi Tian saw that there was a grain of sand suspended in the air in front of him, and his consciousness could not perceive it. This is, quote, Yi Tian stared at this grain of sand, recalling records about similar treasures in his mind. It is all things, stars, sand, and the treasure house of function has records about it. Yi Tian said in shock. All things star sand was born in the place where the rules of the forbidden soil are strong. It takes billions of years to condense a grain. It is extremely valuable. And the world of the earth inside the dark-winged Dapeng eagle actually gave birth to all things, stars and sand. At this moment, Yi Tian finally understood why the ancestors of the half-step domain fought. It must be for the sake of all things, stars and sand. Once there are enough all things, stars and sands, the half-step ancestors can break the limit of the physical body, step into the realm of all things flesh, and their strength is superior to other half-step ancestors, which is equivalent to another level of powerhouse. Wow! Yi Tian pinched this grain of all things star sand, tried his best to take it away, and then put it into the universe world in his body. And this step took him a few seconds. Fortunately, there is no half-step domain ancestor here, otherwise he would not want to snatch all things, stars and sand at such a slow speed. Myriads of stars and sands cannot be perceived with divine sense, but can only be observed by eyes, so the ancestors of the half-step domain are not much better than me, and they can only slowly search for the sand of all things. The ancestors of the half-step domain happened before. In the battle, it is estimated that we have found an area where all things are denser, so we will fight because of this. Yi Tian muttered. He also wants all things star sand, but there is no good way to find all things star sand. With the passage of time, there are more and more powerful Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors in the world of Earth. Perhaps the news of Wangxing 5.8 Chensha was leaked, causing them to also look for Wangxing Xingsha. Unexpected, Yi Tian's copy talent sensed the existence of a creature in the underground of the Earth world, and through the introduction of this creature, he learned about the creature's abilities. Star Sand Beast. This is a creature comparable to Taoist ancestors. The creature senses the presence of people, stars, sand, and seems to have a similar connection. However, the Xingchen Sand Beast is not interested in all things Xingchen Sha, and even a little hates all things Xingchen Sha. This is like the stars and sand beasts in all things, stars and sand are mutually restrained, and all things generate and restrain each other. This is the principle. Seeing the role of the star sand beast, Yi Tian smiled. He knows how to get more all things, stars, sand, and sand. Chapter 1226 Crazy Collection. 2nd, Yi Tian prepares to dismantle the duplicating body of the Dark King and prepares to duplicate the star sand beast. Although it would take 10,000 years to use the ability to replicate the body, it would take more than a month to use the ability to replicate the body even if it was accelerated by 100,000 times. Judging from the current situation, if another month passes, I am afraid that all things in the world of Earth have already been found, and there may not be many left. The 100,000-fold time acceleration is also the limit acceleration time under the rules, but nothing is absolute. As long as there are taboo strange objects in the time category, this limit can be broken, and it can be accelerated by 1,000,000 times or even more time. But how precious and rare is the forbidden strange object of time? Even if someone gets this forbidden strange object, it will not be used to waste acceleration time. In these years, Yi Tian has obtained countless taboo strange objects, and there is really a high-level taboo strange object level time strange object, which can be used to complete a time acceleration, which can accelerate time by about 2,000,000 times. According to this calculation, after 10,000 years, the outside world has only spent more than a day. Delaying more than a day is nothing. After all, the world of Earth is comparable to the size of an ancient world, and it takes a long time for the ancestors of the half-step domain to explore the entire world of Earth when their divine sense is useless. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu searched separately, and took the opportunity to let the Dark King come to Yi Tian's side. Motivated by Yi Tian's thoughts, the cloned body of the Dark King dissipated, and the forbidden armor, sky-killing spear and other weapons on his body fell one by one. Immediately, Yi Tian began to copy the body of the star sand beast. Wow! A huge star sand beast appeared, like an enlarged version of a gerbil, and it was covered in thick black scales. Yi Tian manipulated the body of the star sand beast, and suddenly the body had a special induction. There was something in a distant place that caused it to feel disgusted. Under this emotion, the star gerbil was unwilling to go there, an instinct. But Yi Tian is not a real star gerbil, so naturally he will not follow this instinct. There should be all things, stars and sand in that place. Yi Tian guessed. Immediately, he controlled the body of the star sand beast to escape. Soon, he came here, and he saw all things, stars and sand. Yi Tian didn't ask the Xingchen sand beast to fetch all things, because the Xingchen sand beast did not have the talent for replicating and could not detect the surrounding situation, is dead. He doesn't have a second forbidden time wonder to speed up time, so he can't take risks. The task of the Xingchen sand beast is to lock the position of all things, and the main body will follow behind to investigate the situation. Once there is no danger, it will take away all things. Not long after the body of the star sand beast left, Yi Tian's body came here, used his copy talent to explore the surroundings, and immediately took away this grain of all things star sand. That's it. Stars and sand beasts are constantly looking for all things star sand in the earth world, and Yi Tian's body keeps taking away every grain of all things star sand, and with mutual cooperation, he has harvested a lot of all things star sand. Time passed like this day by day, and there were fewer and fewer all things, stars and sands in the world of earth. Until 40 days passed, the stars and sand beasts searched for a long time and did not perceive the existence of all things, stars and sands. Maybe there are all things in the world of earth, stars and sand, but it may be in a too remote place. Yi Tian is too lazy to wait. This time, he obtained a total of 872 grains of all things star sand. He doesn't know how many things the ancestors of the half-step domain have obtained, but there is absolutely no all the stars and sands he has obtained. Afterwards, Yi Tian reunited with his son and daughter. Father, I only got a grain of all things star sand. Yi Xingchen sighed, and Yi Xingyu pouted and said, I didn't find a single grain. If you can't find it, you can't find it. Let's go to the world of gold. There are already many Taoist ancestors going to that world. If you go late, you won't be able to get anything. Yi Tian urged. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu nodded again and again. Woohoo! The three of them left the world of earth from a crack in the void, and after passing through cracks in the void, they finally came to the world of gold. Just arrived in the world of gold, battles broke out everywhere, and even the ancestors of the half-step domain were fighting. The place where Yi Tian, Yi Xingchen, and Yi Xingyu descended happened to be a battle point. About 4 or 5 Supreme Tao ancestors were robbing a mineral vein and fighting each other frantically. When Yi Tian came, an attack came over. Roll. Yi Tian blocked it, and immediately said coldly. It's the ancestor of Wanfa. The few Supreme Tao ancestors were startled and fled quickly, not daring to fight here again, otherwise they would be dead. After these few Supreme Tao ancestors left, Yi Tian and the three looked at the mine. Father, it's the black pattern Tianxi vein. Yi Xingchen recognized it and said. Well, it is indeed a black pattern Tianxi ore vein, which contains a hint of taboo attributes. Although it is not qualified to create a forbidden weapon, it can create a Taoist weapon with a taboo attribute. Such a ore vein is enough to create tens of thousands of top Taoist tools. No wonder those Supreme Tao ancestors are fighting for such a mine. Yi Tian whispered. Immediately, the three of them began to collect this ore vein, and it took a while to completely strip the ore vein from the gold world, and 467 entered the inner world. Yi Tian understood that the greatest treasure in the golden world should be the rare ore veins, and the Haiwan Tianxi ore veins belong to the relatively low-end ore veins, which could not arouse the greed of the ancestors of the half-step domain and the invincible Taoist ancestors. Those invincible Tao ancestors and half-step domain ancestors are definitely competing for more precious ore veins, and they have no time to collect these low-value ore veins. Of course, it can also be said that those invincible Taoist ancestors and half-step domain ancestors have expanded. But there is no way, if it is the outside world, there is a black patterned celestial stone vein, and the invincible Taoist ancestors will frantically snatch it, but in this world of gold, the black patterned celestial stone vein is really ordinary. Yi Tian took his sons and daughters to continuously search for ore veins, and soon found several ore lodes, the value of which was lower than that of the Haiwan Tianxi ore lode, but no one was mining, so Yi Tian asked his son and daughter to mine nearby and look for low-value ore veins. And he put on the equipment of the Dark King and became the Dark King to compete for the precious mineral vein. Soon, he came to a battlefield, where the invincible Tao ancestors were robbing the mines, including the invincible Tao ancestor of Black Wind Mountain. For example, the three Taoist ancestors, Liu Huo Taoist, Yuding Taoist, and Golden Buddha Taoist. The ore veins that had been blasted into pieces suddenly shrank. This is an inextinguishable black gold vein. Chapter 1227 Eternal Origin Stone Statue. Third. The inextinguishable black gold lode is not an ordinary lode, but a lode capable of forging taboo weapons. Although it is not as good as the dark dull gold lode obtained by Yi Tian before, its value is also enormous. Even if the indestructible black gold is used alone, it can create a medium taboo weapon. If enough indestructible black gold is used and the refining level is high, it can also create a high-level taboo weapon. The most important thing is that the immortal black gold has the property of immortality. Even if the weapon is interrupted, it can be recovered. Once other forbidden weapons are interrupted, it will really be broken. Big. Even Yi Tian's sky-slaying spear, if it was interrupted by other top-level forbidden weapons, would be difficult to repair, but if the inextinguishable black gold was added, it would be automatically repaired, and the value would increase a lot in an instant. Therefore, the immortal black gold is also a precious treasure to Yi Tian. Without further ado, Yi Tian instantly joined the battle, competing with the invincible Dao ancestors for indestructible black gold. I saw that Yi Tian was invisible, approached a piece of immortal black gold nugget that collapsed and flew out, grabbed it all at once, and immediately received it into the world inside the body. In this way, Yi Tian used the taboo talent to hide constantly. Other invincible Dao ancestors could not perceive the existence of Yi Tian at all. Often a piece of indestructible black gold not far in front of him had not yet been snatched, and when he was about to snatch it, he was instantly swept away by Yi Tian. Taken away. Dark King, you are going too far. Unparalleled Daozu said angrily. After all, everyone else is serious about robbing indestructible black gold. With their own strength, they can grab more indestructible black gold if their strength is strong, but Yi Tian is better. Stealing it directly, it is simply too rascal. Of course, they are more jealous. If they also have this ability, it would be great. They can snatch more indestructible black gold. Yi Tian, regardless of the roar and anger of the invincible Taoist ancestors, still happily went to grab the indestructible black gold, and quickly grabbed a lot of indestructible black gold. But it didn't take long for the inextinguishable black gold veins to be completely robbed, leaving only a huge pit. Afterwards, the invincible Taoist ancestors left one by one to look for other rare mineral veins. As time passed, the ore veins were excavated by the Taoist ancestors, and there were fewer and fewer ore veins in the world of gold. Sudden, a breath came, and all the Taoist ancestors in the world of earth trembled, and their eyes couldn't help but look somewhere in the world of gold. This breath is not dangerous, but it contains an extremely mysterious forbidden avenue, which makes them immersed in it, and many insights emerge one by one. Big chance, Yi Tian muttered. Immediately, the invincible Dao ancestors and the supreme Dao ancestors all shuttled towards that position. In the golden world, in the middle of a broken mountain, an ancient black statue stands. This is a statue of an ape, holding a spear, standing there like a human. Qinglong Palace Master, Eternal Dao Ancestor and other half-step ancestors are all here, staring at this ape statue one by one. They scrambled for a top-level forbidden treasure here before, but they beat it, the peak burst, and this ape statue appeared. The top-level forbidden treasure was snatched by Qinglong Palace Master, but at this moment, everyone had automatically forgotten that top-level treasure, and all were staring at this ape statue. What is this statue made of that gives me a dangerous aura? Qinglong Palace Master was surprised. It should be the Eternal Source Stone. The Eternal Taoist said in a low voice. Eternal Origin Stone. This is a very ancient name, and the ancestors of the half-step domain do not know much about it. It is rumored that the Eternal Origin Stone was born in the depths of the dark forbidden area. It is the most primitive kind of power stone, but even the ancestors of the domain cannot absorb the energy of the Eternal Origin Stone. In the historical records of the Divine Sky Realm, there was a thumb-sized Eternal Origin Stone, which caused competition among many domain ancestors. Stone. In the end, the Eternal Origin Stone was left untouched. But it has to be said that even if it is used for collection, the value of the Eternal Source Stone is far beyond the imagination of the half-step ancestors. And there is such a large Eternal Origin Stone statue here, which is simply amazing. It's a pity that they tried it and couldn't take this Eternal Origin Stone statue, as if it was connected to the world of gold. This Eternal Source Stone statue is definitely not naturally born in the world of gold. It must have been obtained by this forbidden creature from somewhere in the dark forbidden area, and then placed in its own world of gold, and used the world of gold to completely bind eternity. Originium statue. Eternal Daozu guessed. It should be so. The other half-step ancestors nodded. Although they could not take the Eternal Origin Stone statue, they did not leave here, but closed their eyes one by one and began to comprehend and cultivate here. This statue is not just a pure Eternal Origin Stone. It seems to contain an incomparably powerful forbidden avenue. Even the stance of this Eternal Origin Stone statue and the movement of holding a spear are full of endless mysteries. Boom. In the perception of the ancestors of the half-step domain, it seems that the Eternal Origin Stone statue in front of them is no longer a statue, but turned into an extremely terrifying giant ape, standing in the void of the dark forbidden domain. A roar shook millions, hundreds of millions of dark forbidden areas are empty, killing countless forbidden creatures with a single spear. It is above the forbidden creatures, and it is an existence that the ancestors of the half-step domain cannot imagine. Puff puff. The ancestors of the half-step domain vomited blood, and their expressions changed greatly. Retreat. Can't get close to Shenwu. The main road of Qinglong Palace. Whoa whoa. A half-step domain ancestor quickly exited this area, and then began to re-enlighten in a slightly farther area. At this time, they felt that the coercion brought by this statue to them was much lessened, and Wu Guangzhou had nothing to do with how to comprehend it. The original owner of this statue is too powerful. Qinglong Palace Master and others sighed. They even now speculate that the reason why the forbidden creature, the dark-winged Dapeng eagle, has fallen, may have something to do with this statue. The dark-winged Dapeng eagle seized the image and escaped. As a result, a far-off dark forbidden territory that was above the forbidden creature was severely injured, and finally fell to his death, and the body floated to the dark forbidden territory near the Daoshan boundary. If so, the value of this eternal originium statue is too high. It must be well understood. Maybe we can break through the realm with the eternal origin stone statue, become a domain ancestor, and even go further on the road of the domain ancestor. Eternal Daozu was excited. Whoa, the powerful Taoist ancestors and the invincible Taoist ancestors also came here from afar, and also saw the eternal origin stone statue. Chapter 12:28 The Palace Master of the Golden Crow. The most powerful Taoist ancestors and the invincible Taoist ancestors did not know the eternal origin stone statue at all. They flew over to take the eternal origin stone statue one by one. After finding that they could not take it, they also prepared to use the eternal origin stone statue to comprehend and practice. At this time, the Supreme Tao Ancestor and Invincible Tao Ancestor who belonged to the three major Nine Heavens forces, Haifeng Mountain and the Heavenly Emperor Palace were reminded by the half-step domain ancestors' voice transmission that they did not approach cultivation, but those Supreme Tao Ancestors and Invincible Tao Ancestors of the 8th Heavenly Heaven are loose cultivators, they don't know the situation so they comprehend near the statue of the Eternal Source Stone. Unexpected, a scattered cultivator to the strong Tao Ancestor's breath quickly declined, and he fell silently and died. And this is just the beginning. Soon, one by one, the Supreme Tao Ancestors fell, and 7 or 8 Supreme Tao Ancestors fell almost in an instant. Even the Invincible Tao Ancestors were seriously injured and dying. Retreat. The Supreme Tao Ancestor and Invincible Tao Ancestor who did not understand the situation finally understood, and they quickly retreated one by one, not daring to comprehend here. Damn, the ancestors of the half-step domain must know the situation, and they only tell their people, not us. Some Supreme Tao Ancestors and Invincible Tao Ancestors were very annoyed. Fortunately, they slowed down in understanding, otherwise they might be among the fallen. At this time, Yi Tian also came here, and immediately got the sound transmission reminder from the Eternal Tao Ancestor and the others. Eternal Originium Statue. Yi Tian is also the first time to hear about this thing. At the moment, the Eternal Origin Stone is only second, the main reason is that the statue is not very simple, and it is impossible to get close to Shenwu, otherwise even the half-step domain ancestor will be injured. However, the Eternal Tao Ancestor also said that the Eternal Origin Stone statue contains a very powerful forbidden avenue. If they are comprehended, it will be very helpful to their cultivation. Moreover, this is the last world, and basically all the good things have been collected. And they couldn't do anything about the corpse of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle, so it was not a waste of time to comprehend here. Yi Tian sat cross-legged away from the Eternal Originium statue and began to comprehend. Boom! The Eternal Origin Stone statues presented a picture after another, all of which were pictures of a terrifying giant ape fighting in the dark forbidden area, killing a forbidden creature with ease. It was simply powerful and terrifying. Every move is completely natural and contains infinite mysteries. Due to the relatively long distance, the pressure brought to Yi Tian was not too great, and he could barely endure it. This kind of comprehension is equivalent to witnessing a supreme existence showing his forbidden avenues, and witnessing with his own eyes a little understanding of something about fighting with the enemy is enough to benefit a lot. What level of existence is this giant ape? It's too powerful. Could it be that the forbidden creature is not the most powerful existence in the dark forbidden area? Yi Tian wondered. Yi Tian wanted to ask Ouyang Zhuor, but after searching carefully, he couldn't find Ouyang Zhuor. He has never seen Ouyang Zhuor since he entered the inner world of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. It seems that Ouyang Zhuor is afraid that his identity will be discovered by the ancestors of the half-step domain, so he has been keeping a low profile. He now also knows Ouyang Zhuor. Where? However, based on what he knew about Ouyang Zhuor must have come in. Continue to comprehend. With the passage of time, Yi Tian's understanding of the Forbidden Tao became deeper and deeper, and through the picture of the Supreme Existence fighting, he gradually gained a deep understanding of the Forbidden Tao technique, and he knew how to create the Forbidden Tao technique. Direction. If he is allowed to create the Forbidden Tao technique again, he will definitely not take too long. Moreover, the more he comprehends, the more he can perceive the horror of that giant ape. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. On this day, the entire golden world trembled and shook violently. Not only is the golden world shaking, but the entire body of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle is shaking. What happened? Many Taoist ancestors panicked. All out, the ancestors of the half-step domain opened their mouths one after another. Whoa whoa whoa, half-step Yuzu left the golden world first, and traveled all the way, and soon left the dark-winged Dapeng eagle's body world and returned to the outside world. The supreme Tao ancestors and the invincible Tao ancestors also went out quickly. After all, when they came in, they still needed to explore each world to enter, but when they went out and knew the route, it was naturally much faster. In a short time, all the Taoist ancestors CJFI all came out, and the Taoist ancestors who did not come out basically fell. At this time, Yi Tian also sensed the existence of Ouyang Zhuor. In addition, before coming out, Yi Tian's cloned body was finally able to be used again, so he cloned his own body, and his own identity was transformed into the Daozu of Wanfa, and the cloned body replaced the Dark King. Yi Tian just came out, so he didn't have time to communicate with Ouyang Zhuor. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on a few people. Those few people are very unfamiliar, but they are definitely half-step ancestors. I saw that they kept attacking the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. Strictly speaking, they were attacking the scales, and they seemed to want to knock off the scales from the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. After all, with the power of forbidden creatures, a piece of body scale is also an absolute treasure. If you make it casually, it is a top-level forbidden weapon. There are 3 strange half-step ancestors who appeared this time. One of them seems to be stronger than the Qinglong Palace Master, and he is holding a top-level forbidden weapon-level sword and constantly slashing the scales of the dark-winged eagle. The corpse of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle kept shaking. It turned out to be the Golden Crow Palace Master of the Tiandi Palace. I didn't expect you to be dead. After the Eternal Tao ancestor came out, he looked at the half-step domain ancestor holding the sword and said. This opening directly showed the identity of the 3 half-step ancestors, who were the half-step ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Before, the Heavenly Emperor Palace had already exposed 4 half-step ancestors. If these 3 were added, it would be 7 half-step ancestors. How terrifying is such power? Eternal Daozu, are you provoking me? Palace Master Jinwu stopped and said coldly. The Golden Crow Palace Master is the strongest Palace Master under the Hao Hai Si ancestor of the Heavenly Emperor Palace in the Hao Hai Si realm, and his status is still above the Qinglong Palace Master, but in the Battle of the Realm World, it is rumored that he fell and died, and this is the Qinglong Palace Master's turn to take charge Tiandi Palace. But now, the Golden Crow Palace Lord has appeared, confirming that he has not fallen at all. Whoa whoa whoa, the Qinglong Palace Master and the White Tiger Palace Master Wu Palace appeared beside them one by one, and the 7 great masters stared at the 3 half-step ancestors of Haifeng Mountain, and the atmosphere froze. Eternal Daozu said again, your Heavenly Emperor Palace wants to decompose this forbidden creature's corpse. Let's find a way to decompose it together, and then divide it equally. However, the Palace Master of the Golden Crow threatened in a cold voice, it is not good to divide equally. The body of this forbidden creature belongs to our Heavenly Emperor Palace. Who would dare to refuse? Eternal Tao Ancestor, if you dare to refuse, I will kill you. You should know that I have this strength. He had already learned about the Eternal Origin Stone statue from the Qinglong Palace Master just now, so he was even more greedy for the corpse of this forbidden creature. Today, there are 7 Palace Masters in the Tiandi Palace, and with his combat power, there should be hope to occupy the corpse of this forbidden creature. Chapter 1229 The Physical Body of All Things, the Tao of All Things. Magu Daozu, Zhenyu Daozu, Tianfen Daozu, what's your opinion? Eternal Tao Ancestor asked. Eternal Daozu, if we give up, we won't be in this muddy water. The Taoist ancestor of the town said quickly. Magu Daozu and Tianfen Daozu also gave up, and did not dare to join forces with Yongheng Daozu and the others. They were really afraid of Palace Master Jin Wu. It is true that the Golden Crow Palace Master is too powerful, and his original reputation was too loud. Although the Qinglong Palace Master is very powerful, in fact, the Qinglong Palace Master does not have many strong records, but the Golden Crow Palace Master is different. The Golden Crow Palace Master once fought against the 5 half-step ancestors in the Shenshin realm alone, and beheaded 3 and a half. The ancestor of the steppe domain, with a great reputation, is far from being comparable to the master of the Qinglong Palace. According to legend, when the Golden Crow Palace Master was in the first battle of the shattering of the domain, he fought with the enemy's half-step domain ancestor who used the realm of all things in the flesh, and was beheaded by the opponent. But now it seems that this news is false. The true strength of the Golden Crow Palace Lord is probably not weaker than the half-step ancestor who has the physical state of all things. Therefore, Magu Daozu, Jinyu Daozu, and Tianfan Daozu did not dare to be enemies with Jinwu Palace Master. The Taoist ancestors of the town are unwilling to cooperate, we can only rely on ourselves. The Eternal Daozu voice transmission to Shenshu Daozu, Jingjin Daozu, Dao. The value of this forbidden creature's corpse is too great, and there is an eternal source stone statue inside, which must be fought. Said the Taoist ancestor of Shenshu. Boom. Eternal Dao ancestor, Shenshu Dao ancestor, and Jingjin Dao ancestor held taboo weapons, and they all released their breath, obviously unwilling to make concessions. Very well, you seem to be courting death. The Golden Crow Palace Master sneered. Just as he was about to start and kill the Eternal Dao ancestor and the others, two figures appeared and stood beside the Eternal Dao ancestor and the others. These two were two half-step ancestors. Hengguang Daozu, Ling Daozu, you are here. The Eternal Taoist said in a low voice. Well, if we don't come, the three of you can't stop the Golden Crow Palace Master. Ling Daozu said with a smile. The Golden Crow Palace Master saw that Haifeng Mountain had two more half-step ancestors, but he still didn't take it seriously, and said with a smile, 3 half-step ancestors, 5 half-step ancestors, to me, there is no difference, if that's the case, then you are still dead. Wow, the Palace Master of the Golden Crow killed the past, and the other half-step ancestors of the Tiandi Palace did not take action, obviously they had full confidence in the Palace Master of the Golden Crow. Go together, the Eternal Taoist said in a low voice. Boom. In the void of the dark forbidden area, the 6 half-step ancestors fought. I saw that the Golden Crow Palace Master fought the 5 half-step ancestors alone, but he did not fall into the disadvantage at all, but completely suppressed the 5 half-step ancestors. Unexpected, the terrifying physical coercion erupted from the Golden Crow Palace Master. Holding the Golden Crow sword, the Eternal Dao ancestor was thrown into the air, and the terrifying force directly hit the Eternal Dao ancestor's body to crack and his soul to shake. Boom. The Golden Crow Palace Master showed a supreme posture. Every blow hurt the 5 half-step ancestors, but the 5 half-step ancestors couldn't hurt the Golden Crow Palace Master. With the supreme source of taboos, he can constantly repair his injuries, and even if he is injured a little, he can recover quickly. Among the 5 half-step ancestors, only the Eternal Dao ancestor and the Shenshu Dao ancestor have condensed the supreme Dao Yuan, but the recovery speed is not as fast as the injury speed. The realm of all things flesh, you have really reached the realm of all things flesh. Eternal Daozu was shocked. That's right. The Golden Crow Palace Lord laughed loudly. When the realm was broken in the first battle, I stepped into the realm of the flesh of all things, otherwise I would have died in that battle. It's a pity that I only entered the fleshly body. If I have entered the realm of all things, but the Forbidden Way has not entered the realm of all things, otherwise my Tao and my fleshly body will enter the realm of all things. At this moment I have entered the second step of the half-step domain ancestor, and I belong to the real half-step domain ancestor of the realm of all things. The Eternal Dao ancestor is very dignified. If the Forbidden Tao of the Golden Crow Palace Master has also entered the realm of all things, then there is no need to fight. The Golden Crow Palace Master can easily kill these half-step domain ancestors who are in the first step. Strictly speaking, the half-step domain ancestor level has only 3 steps. The first step is that these half-step domain ancestors, the Forbidden Way and the flesh body have not all entered the realm of all things. The second step is that both the Forbidden Way and the fleshly body have entered the realm of all things, which can be called the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. As for the third step, the realm of all things is complete. The flesh body is comparable to the flesh body of the ancestors of the threefold domain, and the Forbidden Way also possesses the power of the ancestors of the domain. The half-step domain ancestor in the second step, and then the real domain ancestor is the real domain ancestor. But in fact, the half-step domain ancestors who have entered the second step almost never appear, and they will keep retreating until the third step, and then go to the domain ancestor level, and the external battle has almost nothing to do with them. For flowers. Therefore, at the beginning of the Divine Sky Realm, it was almost impossible to see the half-step ancestors of the second step, let alone the half-step ancestors of the third step. Half-step ancestors like Jinwu Palace Master who have physically entered the realm of all things are already the top existences among half-step ancestors, far from being comparable to ordinary half-step ancestors. Far away, Yi Tian, Ouyang Zhuor and the others were watching the battle, and they were extremely shocked when they saw the Golden Crow Palace Master hanging the 5 half-step ancestors alone. Golden Crow Palace Master is too powerful, much stronger than Qinglong Palace Master. Yi Tian secretly said. At this time, he was a little worried about the eternal Tao ancestor and the others. Once the eternal Tao ancestor and the others fell, something big would happen. Do not worry, Ouyang Zhuo'er's voice came. You High Function have the courage to provoke the Palace Master of the Golden Crow, so naturally you are not afraid of the Palace Master of the Golden Crow. Yi Tian looked at Ouyang Zhuo'er, only to see Ouyang Zhuo'er continue. If I didn't guess wrong, you High Function probably also sent a half-step domain ancestor who is no weaker than the Golden Crow Palace Master, maybe immediately. We'll start. As soon as the voice fell, the battle in the distance changed. I saw that the Palace Master of the Golden Crow kept retreating and withdrew from the battle. On the body of the Golden Crow Palace Master, a small wound appeared, someone shot him just now, and a blow broke his defense. Who? The Golden Crow Palace Lord condensed. Wow. The void was rippling, and a woman came out of the void. Haifeng Mountain, the master of the Taoist Dharma. The woman said lightly, your Tao has entered the realm of all things, but the flesh has not entered the realm of all things. Palace Master Jinwu could see it at a glance, and he was immediately extremely apprehensive. Entering the realm of all things is more difficult than entering the realm of all things with the flesh, because the realm of Tao must be comprehended by oneself, but the physical body can fully use some treasures to enter the realm of all things, and all things must be one of them. If there are enough all things, stars and sands, this Miave Taoist can raise his physical body to the realm of all things, which is equivalent to directly entering the second step of the half-step domain ancestor, and his strength completely crushes the other half-step domain ancestors. At that time, the Miave Taoist ancestors could not use a few tricks to kill the half-step ancestors. Chapter 1230 Cut the corpse of the dark-winged Dapeng eagle. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The Golden Crow Palace Master has always known that Haifeng Mountain is not simple, but he never imagined that Haifeng Mountain is hidden so deeply, and there are half-step domain ancestors like Miave Daozu. When the domain was broken, Haifeng Mountain did send a lot of half-step domain ancestors and invincible Daozu to participate in the battle, but the battlefield of Tiandi Palace was not the same as the battlefield of Haifeng Mountain, and the battle situation was so tragic at that time, how could he have time to spy on the strength of the Black Wind Mountain? And after the domain was smashed, Hao Hai Heizu threw 1/3 of the domain fragments into the dark forbidden area, and didn't even have time to explain how many things, only let the Tiandi Palace be careful about Haifeng Mountain, lest Haifeng Mountain destroyed the plan of the Tiandi Palace. Now, he finally understands the meaning of Hao Hai Heizu's words. It is amazing that Haifeng Mountain is not simple. Perhaps the half-step domain ancestors like Miave Daozu are not necessarily the strongest in Haifeng Mountain, or even stronger. Certainly. 467. Tiandi Palace naturally also has hidden power, otherwise Tiandi Palace is not worthy of being called a legendary force. Boom. The Golden Crow Palace Master and Miave Daozu started to fight. The battle between the two sides almost surpassed the scope of ordinary half-step domain ancestors. The terrifying aftermath caused many Taoist ancestors to retreat far away, not daring to approach this area. The body of the Golden Crow Palace Master has entered the realm of all things, and the body is almost invincible. Whether it is strength or defense, it is far superior to the ordinary half-step domain ancestor, and his forbidden body has also reached the level of 93%, which is more than the Qinglong Palace Master. The 90% taboo body is even more terrifying. On the other hand, the forbidden Tao of Miave Daozu is too strong. If it is blessed on a forbidden weapon, a random blow is comparable to a small-level forbidden Tao technique, and its destructive power is terrifying. It can break through the body of the Golden Crow Palace Master. Of course, it is only light. It is enough to hurt him. There is no way to inflict too many injuries on Palace Master Jinwu. And Miave Daozu did not dare to fight close to the Golden Crow Palace Master. After all, her physical body was much weaker, and she had not yet reached the realm of all things. The two fought for a long time, but neither was able to decide the winner. Unexpected, the two stopped fighting and were far apart. Miave Daozu, let's divide the body of this forbidden creature equally, how about it? The Golden Crow Palace Master suggested. Can. Miave Daozu agreed. Now, High Function doesn't want to fight with the Heavenly Emperor Palace. The value of the corpses of forbidden creatures is indeed very high, but there is no need to fight to the death, it is not worth it. Yes, it's so good for everyone to share equally. Zhenyu Daozu, Magu Daozu, and Tianfen Daozu spoke. Miave Daozu sneered. Equal division means that our Black Wind Mountain and Tiandi Palace are divided equally, and the 3 Nine Heavens forces are not qualified to share equally. Roll. The Golden Crow Palace Master also gave a cold drink to Daozu of Zhenyu and the others. He is afraid of Haifeng Mountain, but he doesn't take Tianheizong, Midianzong and Wanyu Temple in his eyes at all. These three major forces are only 3.5 step ancestors. If there is hidden strength, at most 1.5 will be added. Bu Yuzu is not a threat at all. Zhenyu Daozu, Magu Daozu, and Tianfen Daozu are very regretful. If they had known, they would have cooperated with Haifeng Mountain, and then they could get a part of the corpse of the forbidden creature. But they didn't expect that Haifeng Mountain was so strong, and the Golden Crow Palace Master came out. Haifeng Mountain even had a half-step ancestor who could stop the Golden Crow Palace Master. If Montenegro had revealed his cards earlier, why would they refuse? But it was too late to regret it. The Taoist Zhenyu, Magu Taoist, and Tianfen Taoist did not dare to offend the Jinwu Palace Master, and the Miave Taoist is dead. Subsequently, the Golden Crow Palace Master and Miave Daozu cooperated to cut the scales of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle together. The power of the Golden Crow Palace Master is powerful, but it is equivalent to the power of a fist. The attack power is sufficient, but it has no cutting power, while the attack power of Miave Daozu is equivalent to a sharp blade. Therefore, with the help of Daozu Miave, the first scale was soon cut off. This piece of scale belongs to our Black Wind Mountain first. Miave Daozu said. Can. Palace Master Jinwu agreed. Immediately, Eternal Dao Ancestor and the others took over the Dark-Winged Dapeng Eagle scale, and then began to deal with the taboo rules on this scale, otherwise there is no way to incorporate it into the inner world, and it is difficult to take it away. Soon, Eternal Dao Ancestor was finished, and this piece of scale was easily collected. With the passage of time, the scales on the surface of the Dark-Winged Dapeng Eagle's body were cut off piece by piece, and it became a collection of Tiandi Palace and Haifeng Mountain. There are a total of 10,024 scales on the body of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle. After a long period of cutting and deprivation, all of them were finally removed. Haifeng Mountain obtained 5,012 scales, and Tiandi Palace also obtained 5,012 scales. In addition to the scales, the blood, meat and bones of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle are all supreme treasures. Yi Tian was very excited when he saw it, but unfortunately he was the Supreme Dao Ancestor, and he was not qualified to share the scales, blood, bones and other treasures of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle from the hands of the half-step domain ancestors such as the Golden Crow Palace Master and the Miave Dao Ancestor. Ouyang Jor on the side is also very envious. Although she was also a half-step domain ancestor in her previous life, she has seen many good things, but she has never obtained the corpse of a forbidden creature. Before, she regarded a drop of Taiavu's blood as a treasure, and how much blood does this forbidden creature's corpse possess? This is simply incomparable. However, even if she regained her strength in her previous life, she would not be able to defeat the Golden Crow Palace Master and Miave Daozu. After all, she was only lucky enough to become a half-step domain ancestor in her previous life, not a powerful half-step domain ancestor. In the blink of an eye, 3 months have passed. The entire body of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle was almost divided by the half-step ancestors of Haifeng Mountain and Tiandi Palace, and the two major forces also used time to speed up the processing of scales, blood, bones and other components in time, and received them one by one. The inner world of the ancestors of the half-step domain. Sudden, click, this is the sound of the world shattering. With the disappearance of the body of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle, the 5 worlds in its body naturally collapsed, and pieces of world fragments fell into this area. Many ordinary things directly disintegrate 5.8 as soon as they enter the dark forbidden area, and things that do not disintegrate are good things. The ancestors of the half-step domain disliked some things, but other ancestors liked it, especially the 7th level and 6th level Taoist ancestors who had not entered the inner world of the Darkwing Dapeng Eagle, and rushed to snatch those treasures one by one. The half-step domain ancestors are eyeing the Eternal Origin Stone statue. After all, with the collapse of the Golden World, the Eternal Origin Stone statue must be taken away. This is also the reason why Tiandi Palace and Haifeng must cut the corpses of forbidden creatures. Unexpected, the Eternal Origin Stone statue appeared, and the strong fluctuation of the Forbidden Avenue attracted the attention of all the ancestors of the half-step domain, and they were full of greed. Snatch. Jinwu Palace Master and Go Daozu firsthand. Chapter 1231 The Mountain Master has taken action. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The power of the Golden Crow Palace Master and the Miave Daozu continued to collide, and they both wanted to take the Eternal Origin Stone statue, but they were both blocked by the other party. At this time, Qinglong Palace Master and others also rushed up, trying to snatch the Eternal Origin Stone statue. However, at this moment, a hand suddenly tore apart the forbidden void, and easily removed the eternal originium statue. While the Golden Crow Palace Master was furious, he was also a little frightened. The power of so many half-step ancestors has blocked the void. If you want to break their blockade and easily break the taboo void, what kind of power is needed? Even if his taboo path has stepped into the realm of all things, his strength has stepped into half a step. Yuzu's second step cannot be done so easily. At least it's a half-step domain ancestor in the third step, and its strength is second only to the real domain ancestor. The Golden Crow Palace Master guessed. Such a powerful existence, it is absolutely not difficult to kill him. Moreover, he can be sure that the other party is not the powerhouse of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Could it be a certain 29th three-step half-step ancestor from Haifeng Mountain? The Golden Crow Palace Master thought to himself. But is there such a powerful existence in the Black Wind Mountain? Or the other party itself is hidden in the vast sea world, and has been hidden behind the scenes? In short, this person may be a person from Haifeng Mountain, or other forces, or even a loose cultivator. The Eternal Origin Stone statue was snatched away, and the Golden Crow Palace Master could not perceive the existence of the other party, so naturally there was no way to track it. Even if he could really track it, he wouldn't dare to track it. Otherwise, once the opponent kills him, he may really fall and die. Go back to Tiandi Palace. The Golden Crow Palace Master ordered. Whoa. The ancestors of the Heavenly Emperor Palace left and did not dare to stay any longer. After all, they had gained a lot this time, and they were afraid of being intercepted by the mysterious powerhouse. Only by returning to the Heavenly Emperor Palace, even the half-step domain ancestor of the third step, don't even think about breaking the Heavenly Emperor Palace. After the half-step domain ancestor of the Emperor's Palace left, Miave Daozu said, "Let's go back to Eternal Daozu." Shenshu Daozu, and the others responded repeatedly and returned to Haifeng Mountain with Miave Daozu. At this time, many Taoist ancestors were still snatching the treasures that were scattered everywhere after the 5 worlds were broken, and even the Taoist ancestors collected the traces of the blood of the forbidden creatures. Even if they could only collect a trace, it would be a big gain. Yi Tian had no interest in these remaining treasures, and took Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu back. Black Wind Mountain Base. Yi Tian began to organize the harvest. This time he obtained a large number of forbidden strange objects and many forbidden treasures, and also obtained the top forbidden spiritual root tree fragments. In addition, the more precious are taboo blood crystals. Forbidden blood crystals can allow the 7th layer heavenly ancestors to master the power of darkness and taboos, and he has obtained more than 50 forbidden blood crystals. If they are used to cultivate the ancestors, it is enough to cultivate more than 50 supreme Taoist ancestors. Certainly, Yi Tian will not use all of it to cultivate Taoist ancestors, and he also needs to use the forbidden blood crystals to enhance the dark forbidden power, which is of great help to improve the forbidden body. But the most precious treasure obtained this time is undoubtedly the All Things Star Sand. He has obtained more than 800 All Things Star Sand, which can completely make his body reach the realm of all things. Of course, refining All Things Star Sand is something after becoming a half-step domain ancestor, and it is still impossible to use All Things Star Sand. In the following days, Yi Tian began to use the top taboo spiritual root tree to enhance his taboo power, and occasionally used taboo blood crystals to temper his dark taboo power, thereby enhancing his taboo body. Years passed in this way, and hundreds of years passed in a blink of an eye. At this time, Yi Tian's forbidden Tao power has improved a lot, and his forbidden body has been directly tempered from 70% to 80%. In just a few hundred years, Yi Tian's strength has improved a lot. This day, Yi Tian received a message from Eternal Tao Ancestor and asked him to go back to function. Yi Tian found that his son Yi Xingchen also received this information, so he returned to function with his son Yi Xingchen. Xuanshu Ancient World, function. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen used the Dark King and the Earth King Ling to enter function and met the Eternal Tao Ancestor. I have seen the Eternal Taoist Ancestor. I have seen the Taoist ancestors of Shenshu. I have seen Jingjin Daozu. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen greeted each and every half-step ancestor, but they did not see the Miave Taoist ancestors. Dark King, Earth King, I called you back this time to take you to a place. Eternal Daozu said. Where to go? Yi Tian asked curiously. Come with me. The Eternal Tao Ancestor brought Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen to a black pagoda. There was no pagoda in this location before, so it must be a newly built pagoda. Yi Tian found that although this pagoda was not a forbidden weapon, it used a lot of forbidden strange objects and forbidden treasures, and even used a lot of ores of the level of indestructible black gold, which completely blocked the perception of divine consciousness. If he hadn't seen this pagoda with his own eyes, he probably wouldn't have been able to sense the existence of this pagoda. When Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen entered the interior of the pagoda, they saw a vast void and a statue standing in this void. Eternal mirror. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen were shocked. At this moment, Yi Tian finally understood that the powerhouse who stole the Eternal Origin stone statue was the powerhouse of Black Wind Mountain. Eternal Daozu, this Eternal Origin stone statue was captured by our Black Wind Mountain powerhouse. 467 inches, Yi Tian said in surprise. That's right, the Mountain Master function did it. Yang Dao said. After all, the value of this Eternal Origin stone statue is too great, and it even helps the Mountain Master function, so the Mountain Master made his move. 1. Yi Tian nodded again and again. This Eternal Source stone statue is useful to the ancestors of the domain. Even if the Master of the Mountain is the ancestor of the domain, he will not let this statue go. If he doesn't shoot, it will be strange. Eternal Daozu said again. Dark King, Earth King, you are one of the 10 kings, so you have 10,000 years of enlightenment time. If you want to continue to enlighten here, you need to pay a certain amount of Black Wind Mountain points. This is the rule. I even need to pay points when I enter here for enlightenment. Clear. Yi Tian nodded. Remember, this matter cannot be disclosed, understand? Eternal Daozu warned. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen nodded again and again, promising not to leak it out. Afterwards, Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen did not leave, but were here to learn and cultivate for a period of time. At the beginning, Yi Tian had only learned for a while, and he had benefited a lot. If he had learned this for 10,000 years, his Forbidden Dao must have improved greatly, and he could even easily create a powerful Forbidden Dao technique. In short, if he comprehends 10,000 years, his strength will definitely skyrocket. Chapter 1232 Strength Soars. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. In the following days, Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen comprehended the Eternal Origin stone statue here. This place is divided into regions, and each region has established a comprehension tower, and one person occupies a comprehension pagoda without interfering with each other. If you leave, you can leave directly from the Enlightenment Tower. Just like that, time passed. 10,000 years passed by in a flash. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen were cultivating every other time except occasionally going to the outside world to learn about the situation. Today, the Xuanshu ancient world has exposed many half-step ancestors, so the forbidden Zerg is no longer a threat, and has long been suppressed by the Xuanshu ancient world. The creatures give the taboo Zerg, so that the taboo Zerg nest breeds more taboo Zerg. The ancestors of the half-step domain also know that there is a king insect cocoon inside the forbidden Zerg lair, but they are not worried. Half-step domain ancestors are not worried. Yi Tian is naturally not very worried. After all, the ancestors of the half-step domain are still so calm when they know that there is an insect king's cocoon. It is estimated that they know the situation of the insect king's cocoon, so they are not afraid of accidents. This day, Yi Tian finished the retreat, and his enlightenment time has come. Although he can still use the points to continue his enlightenment, there is no need for him right now. After all, he still needs to absorb the gains and progress of this time, otherwise, if he takes a big step, it will not do him any good, and it is easy to set his sights too high. At this time, Yi Tian's Forbidden Dao was several times stronger than before, and even greatly improved Yi Tian's Endless Dao. In the past, Yi Tian didn't know where the limit of his infinite Dao was at all, and if he couldn't touch the limit, how to attack the invincible Dao ancestor level. But now, he feels the limit of Endless Dao. If he compares Endless Dao by percentage, he has already reached the level of 30%. Although he is still far from the limit of Endless Dao, at least he has seen the end. Moreover, he also has countless insights into the Forbidden Dao technique, but he needs to digest it well before he can truly convert the gains into strength. So, Yi Tian left the Pagoda of Enlightenment, left function, and returned to the human world where the human race was currently. Next, Yi Tian began to practice and comprehend the Forbidden Dao technique in the environment of 100,000 times the time acceleration. At present, he has mastered the 4 taboo Dao techniques, including the Dark Coal Spear, Shadow Thorn, Shadow Escape, and Ju Jijia, of which only the Dark Coal Spear has entered the Forbidden Way. But now, Yi Tian has the confidence to cultivate all these 4 taboo Dao techniques to the realm of minor achievement. One can imagine how much the Eternal Origin Stone statue has helped him. In addition, Yi Tian had previously assisted 3 taboo talents from the Shadow Dapeng Eagle. Among them, the taboo talent, swallowing metal was a very rare and powerful taboo talent, which allowed Yi Tian to continuously devour ores to enhance his body defense. Even the material of immortal black gold can be swallowed. If there are enough rare ore veins, he can temper his body to a level that surpasses the top taboo defensive weapons. At that time, even the half-step domain ancestor would not be able to kill him with a single blow. Afterwards, Yi Tian comprehended and cultivated the Forbidden Tao technique, and at the same time used the Forbidden Talent, swallowing gold and swallowing all kinds of rare ores to improve his body defense. In a flash, tens of thousands of years have passed outside. This day, Yi Tian's 4 taboo techniques have all been upgraded to the realm of minor achievement, and the power of each taboo technique has increased a lot, far exceeding the taboo techniques of the introductory level. This kind of improvement speed is much faster than in the past, but Yi Tian's insights gained from comprehending the Eternal Origin Stone statue are almost exhausted. In addition, Yi Tian created a Forbidden Tao technique, devouring all things. This Forbidden Tao technique is completely based on the Forbidden Tao technique. The Forbidden Tao technique created by swallowing gold can speed up the refining of various rare ore materials, and can devour part of the enemy's attack energy, and its power is terrifying. In addition, Yi Tian used the top taboo spirit root tree and taboo blood crystal to raise his cultivation base to the extreme of the most powerful Tao ancestor. If the endless Tao reached the limit, he could even hit the invincible Tao ancestor realm. However, Yi Tian's current combat power is much stronger than before, and even he can't estimate his own combat power. But if he is compared with the general invincible Daozu, he can easily crush and even kill the opponent. I don't know who is stronger than the top existence among the invincible Taoist ancestors. Yi Tian muttered. This day, many Taoist ancestors found that the benefits of sacrificing the forbidden Zerg were less, and there were not as many benefits obtained at the beginning, which led to the lower and lower value of the forbidden Zerg corpse, and even few Taoist ancestors hunted and killed the forbidden Zerg. Yi Tian knew that this was the origin of the ancient world of Xuanxu and had little demand for the forbidden Zerg, or that the forbidden Zerg sacrificed to the origin, and it was difficult to grow the origin. If it continues, the forbidden Zerg will not even be of any help to the Xuanxu ancient realm. As a result, the half-step ancestors of the major forces gathered together to hold a meeting. The people who attended the meeting were Qinglong Palace Master, Eternal Daozu, Jinwu Palace Master and Miave Daozu, who were not interested in this matter, so they did not participate. At the meeting, the Qinglong Palace Master suggested, "Everyone, the taboo Zerg is of little value to the ancient world of Xuanxu. If you continue to raise GU like this, it is probably useless. I propose to completely destroy the taboo Zerg." Magu Daozu frowned and said, "Palace Master Qinglong, although the forbidden Zerg's strength has been greatly reduced now, the forbidden Zerg's nest cannot even be shaken by us. I am afraid that even the second step is worth the third step. The forbidden Zerg lair. Moreover, once we enter the forbidden Zerg lair, Wang Zhao, we are not the opponents of the Lord-level forbidden Zerg at all. How can we completely destroy the forbidden Zerg?" Magu Daozu's worries are also the worries of Zhenyu Daozu and Tianfan Daozu, and they don't dare to enter the forbidden Zerg lair rashly. Don't worry, the Golden Crow Palace Master of our Tiandi Palace and the Miave Daozu of Haifeng Mountain will also enter the forbidden Zerg lair at that time. Your goal is only to deal with the commander-level forbidden Zerg. Don't tell me, inside the forbidden Zerg lair, you still can't beat the commander-level taboo Zerg. The main road of Qinglong Palace. Then I'm fine. Magu Daozu agreed. Next, the two sides discussed the issue of income again. In short, once you enter the forbidden Zerg lair, once you have any gains, you will be distributed according to the credit, and you cannot snatch each other. Shortly after, the plan to invade the forbidden Zerg lair has begun. Chapter 1233 Enter the forbidden Zerg lair. This day, Haifengtian Miave Daozu led the Eternal Daozu, Shenshu Daozu, Zhengjin Daozu, Hengguang Daozu and Ling Daozu, a total of 6 half-step ancestors participated in the battle against the forbidden Zerg. In addition, many invincible Dao ancestors and a large number of supreme Dao ancestors participated in the battle one by one. Yi Tian and Yi Xingchen also participated in this battle. On the other side of the Tiandi Palace, the Golden Crow Palace Master led the Qinglong Palace Master, Junwu Palace Master, White Tiger Palace Master, Suzaku Palace Master and many other Palace Masters, many Emperors, and a large number of Supreme Dao ancestors dispatched, and the battle even surpassed the Black Wind Mountain formation. Although the power of the 3 major Nine Heavens forces is weaker, they have also dispatched most of their combat power. The remaining 8th level, 7th level, and middle level 3 level forces also sent a lot of Taoist ancestors to participate in the war, otherwise it would take a long time for the Tiandi Palace, Haifeng Mountain and the 3 level 9 level forces to be destroyed. So many forbidden Zerg. Dark Forbidden Area. Countless Taoist ancestors came horizontally, and they killed the forbidden Zerg when they encountered it. It didn't take long for the forbidden Zerg to be killed without reaching 3 million, and they were directly restricted to the territory near the forbidden Zerg's lair. In the void of the dark forbidden area, heads of forbidden Zerg were pierced by a stream of light, and they fell to their deaths. The Taoist ancestors continued to advance, and finally advanced to the place close to the forbidden Zerg lair. At this time, the forbidden Zerg had about 2004.67 million left, and almost all of them returned to the forbidden Zerg lair. Obviously, the forbidden Zerg knew very well that if all the forbidden Zerg were still fighting outside, they would all fall and die. It would be better to take their power back into the lair and rely on the home field advantage to fight against the Dao ancestors. Go in, the palace master Jinwu said. Mia Wei Daozu also let the Daozu of Haifeng Mountain enter the forbidden Zerg lair, ready to fight with the forbidden Zerg in the forbidden Zerg lair. The Taoist ancestors of other forces saw the Haifeng Mountain and the Taoist ancestors of the Tiandi Palace took the lead to kill them, and also followed into the forbidden Zerg lair. Forbidden Zerg lair. The Taoist ancestors poured in, and a large number of taboo Zerg attacked. Inside the forbidden Zerg's lair, the forbidden Zerg's strength is more powerful than in the outside world, and the Dao ancestors' strength is at most 30%. It can be said that in this case, the commander-level taboo Zerg directly crushed the invincible Daozu, and the elite-level forbidden Zerg directly crushed the strong Daozu. However, there are too many Taoist ancestors, and the top combat power of the forbidden Zerg is too small now. Today, the Lord-level taboo Zerg (CJFI) of the taboo Zerg have long been less than a dozen, and now there are at most 7 or 8, while the commander-level taboo Zerg is at most more than 20. The Golden Crow Palace Master and the Mia Wei Daozu directly stopped all the Lord-level taboo Zerg at once, while the Qinglong Palace Master and their half-step ancestors were responsible for killing the commander-level taboo Zerg. Level taboo Zerg, even easily killed by commander-level taboo Zerg. Therefore, the ancestors of the half-step domain need to fight against the commander-level taboo Zerg. Yi Tian directly faced an elite-level taboo Zerg, and most of the other supreme Taoist ancestors couldn't beat the elite-level taboo Zerg, but Yi Tian easily crushed the taboo Zerg. Shadowthorn. The sky-slaughtering spear stabbed directly through an elite forbidden Zerg, instantly inflicting heavy damage on it. After several more attacks, this elite taboo Zerg fell to his death. The strength is suppressed too much. If it is outside, I can easily kill it with one blow. Yi Tian muttered. However, he still tried his best to kill the elite Zerg. As for the commander-level taboo Zerg, he was powerless, not that he couldn't beat it, but that it was difficult to kill one. Killing the commander-level forbidden Zerg is currently the task of the ancestors of the half-step domain, not the task of a mere supreme Taoist ancestor. With the passage of time, the number of forbidden Zerg dwindled sharply, and soon dropped to 1 million. At this time, the taboo insect tree was still producing taboo Zerg, but it couldn't make many taboo Zerg due to lack of energy. As a result, the forbidden insect tree began to give birth to the forbidden insect king. If someone came to the forbidden insect tree, they could understand that countless insect cocoons began to wither and turned into ashes in an instant, and the energy of these insect cocoons was transferred to the top insect king cocoon. At the cost of sacrificing countless insect cocoons, coupled with depleting the source of the forbidden insect tree, to forcibly catalyze the forbidden insect king, it is possible to breed the insect king. Soon, the aura of the forbidden insect tree became weaker and weaker, and gradually began to wither, while the aura of the insect king and cocoon became stronger and stronger. And with the withering of the forbidden insect tree, the entire forbidden insect clan nest began to have problems, and the suppression of the Taoist ancestors was getting lower and lower. The forbidden insect tree is the core energy of the forbidden Zerg lair. If the forbidden insect tree is weak, the forbidden Zerg lair will naturally have problems. But the taboo Zerg can't do anything about it. If you don't do this, what's the use of the taboo Zerg's nest even if it's intact when the taboo Zerg has been killed? Therefore, they would rather make the taboo Zerg nest greatly damaged, or catalyze the emergence of the insect king. With the strength of the insect king, once it is conceived, it will definitely be able to save the forbidden insect race. When the time comes, the insect king will lead the forbidden Zerg for a long time, but it is still possible to repair the forbidden insect tree and the forbidden Zerg nest. 800,000, 700,000, 600,000. The number of forbidden Zerg is getting smaller and smaller, and the pressure of Taoist ancestors is also getting smaller and smaller. About 3 more days passed. At this time, the number of forbidden Zerg was already less than 100,000, and quite a few were elite-level forbidden Zerg. And every elite-level taboo Zerg basically needs more than 10 supreme Taoist ancestors to besiege to be able to compete, and the top commander-level taboo Zerg can even save their lives in the hands of half-step domain ancestors. In particular, the most powerful commander-level taboo Zerg has not been hit hard until now, and is extremely powerful. As for the Lord-level taboo Zerg battlefield, although Palace Master Jinwu and Mia of a Palace held back the Lord-level taboo Zerg, they were also suppressed by a large part of their strength here, while the strength of the Lord-level taboo Zerg has been enhanced. Therefore, it will take a certain amount of time for Palace Master Jinwu and Palace Master Mia of a to kill these Lord-level taboo Zerg. However, as the taboo insect tree becomes weaker and weaker, the power of the Golden Crow Palace Master and Mia of a Daozu will naturally become stronger, and the situation of the Lord-level taboo Zerg is very dangerous. Unexpected, the early Lord was directly killed by the Golden Crow Palace Lord. Then, the other Lord-level taboo Zerg also began to be seriously injured and were on the verge of death. The strength gap between the two sides was too great. Mia of a Daozu, let's hurry up, don't let the Worm King come out, otherwise it will be a big trouble. The Palace Master Jinwu urged. Chapter 1234 The low-end version of the Insect King. Mia of a Daozu also knew that the Forbidden Insect King could not be born, otherwise it would be really troublesome. After all, they are far from the Insect King's opponents. Immediately, Mia of a Daozu and the Golden Crow Palace Master made a full effort and rushed towards the Forbidden Insect Tree. However, those Lord-level taboo Zerg stopped Mia of a Daozu at all costs, and even forcibly blocked the attacks of Mia of a Daozu and Jinwu Palace Master, and did not avoid it at all. In such a situation, another Lord-level taboo Zerg could not support the injury and fell to his death. At this time, the Forbidden Zerg's lair is constantly collapsing. This is because the Forbidden Zerg King's cocoon has absorbed the origin of too many taboo Zerg trees, resulting in a large-scale collapse of the taboo Zerg's lair. Of course, even so, the Forbidden Zerg lair will not be shattered or destroyed. A wave of fluctuations spread to the entire Forbidden Zerg lair, causing countless Taoist ancestors to tremble. This is the aura that belongs to the Insect King. No, the Worm King is about to be born. Mia of a Daozu was shocked. At this time, there were only 4 Lord-level taboo Zerg, and all of them were seriously injured, and the other Lord-level taboo Zerg had all fallen. Immediately, the Golden Crow Palace Master and Mia of a Daozu used some kind of forbidden treasure to instantly trap the 2 Lord-level Forbidden Zerg, and forcibly escaped the interception of the other 2 Lord-level Forbidden Zerg, and shuttled to the Forbidden Worm Tree. Soon, they came to the Forbidden Insect Tree and attacked the strongest. I saw that the Golden Crow Palace Master activated a Heavenly Emperor artifact, and a terrifying blow broke out, hitting the Insect King's cocoon. The Mia of a Daozu also used a terrifying Big Killer, which was able to explode with a full-strength blow comparable to the second half-step domain ancestor, and also hit the Insect King's cocoon. Crack! The Insect King's cocoon cracked, and a purple insect's foot came out. Seeing this worm foot, the expressions of Jinwu Palace Master and Mia of a Daozu changed dramatically. The Insect King did not die, but was really conceived. Boom! The Insect King cocoon was completely shattered, and a Forbidden Insect King with only half the body of the ordinary Forbidden Insect race came out. Its terrifying aura filled the air, causing the Golden Crow Palace Master and Mia of a Daozu to keep retreating. It didn't reach the domain ancestor level. The Golden Crow Palace Master rejoiced. It is true that it has not reached the level of the ancestors of the domain. Daozu Mia of a nodded. We have estimated before that there is no way to breed the true Insect King in the Forbidden Zerg nest at present. Even if the Forbidden Zerg consumes the source, sacrifice all the insects. Cocoon, there is no way to create a real Worm King. This Worm King is just a low-profile version of the Worm King, and his strength is far from reaching the level of the ancestors of the domain. It should be equivalent to the top second step and half-step domain ancestors, but the defensive power has probably exceeded the third step and a half-step of the ancestors, second only to the ancestors of the domain. The top second step and half-step domain ancestors are also extremely powerful existences, and they can't beat them at all. Of course, this is already the best-case scenario. If the real Insect King is born, they can be killed in seconds with a single blow. It must be stopped. Otherwise, once it devours too many lives, even if it can't become a real Insect King comparable to the ancestor of the domain, I am afraid it will be comparable to the combat power of the third step and half-step domain ancestor. At that time, we will even compete against it. No qualifications. Jinwu Palace Master reminded Mia of a Daozu. I see. Mia of Daozu nodded. Immediately, the two summoned other Taoist ancestors to evacuate the forbidden Zerg lair. The Insect King is born. Yi Tian felt the breath of the Insect King in the distance and the message from the Taoist ancestor, and his expression changed drastically. The only good thing is that this is the low-level version of the Insect King, and the combat power is only equivalent to the top second step and half-step domain ancestor, otherwise there is no need to fight at all. Withdraw. A Taoist ancestor evacuated from the forbidden Zerg lair. And the taboo Zerg is running out at this time, there is no way to stop the ancestors. At this time, the Golden Crow Palace Master and Mia of Daozu are also doing their best to resist the Insect King. Fortunately, the Worm King's fighting skills are not high, and he has no means, but his pure attack power and speed have reached the level of the second half-step domain ancestor. However, the Golden Crow Palace Master and Mia of Daozu can only use taboo Dao techniques and various secret techniques to evade and limit the Insect King. It didn't take long for the Taoist ancestors to withdraw from the forbidden Zerg lair. Outside the forbidden Zerg lair, a large number of Taoist ancestors fled in all directions at the fastest speed, and did not dare to stay here. Although the ancestors of the half-step domain have said that this Worm King is only equivalent to the top second step half-step domain ancestor, his strength is far greater than that of the Golden Crow Palace Master and the Mia of Daozu. For flowers, therefore, they really have no confidence in the Golden Crow Palace Master and Mia of Daozu. Yi Tian took Yi Xingchen, Yi Xingyu and the others to leave. Although he was curious and wanted to replicate the Insect King's forbidden talent, he couldn't take risks with his body. As for the cloned body Dark King, he was just watching and didn't rush over. After all, if the Dark King's identity was exposed, it wouldn't be worth it. Soon, Palace Master Jinwu and Daozu Mia of A rushed out dragging the injured body, followed by a purple taboo Zerg, which was the King Zerg. At this time, the Worm King was extremely angry and wished to kill all the Taoist ancestors. Jinwu Palace Master and Mia of Daozu didn't care about other Daozu at this time, they tried their best to start fleeing, and soon they got rid of the Insect King. After all, the speed of the Insect King is too simple, and it is difficult to chase down Jinwu and Mia of Daozu. And those Taoist ancestors who were slower or who were still watching the battle were miserable. They were slaughtered by the Insect King, and the corpses were swallowed by the Insect King's body, turning it into nourishment for its growth. In the void of the dark forbidden area, Yi Tian's cloned body, the Dark King, stood here, feeling the breath of the Insect King in the distance getting closer and closer. All the treasures on his body were transferred to the main body, so even if he fell here, there would be no loss. He was waiting for the Insect King, wondering what talent it had. Soon, the Worm King came, saw Yi Tian, and prepared to swallow Yi Tian in one bite. Copy talent, explore. In an instant, Yi Tian spied all the talents of this Insect King. Forbidden talent, Dark Spear. Forbidden talent, Purple Armor. Forbidden talent, Perception. The three major taboo talents are more than other Lord-level taboo Zerg. Fortunately, there is no taboo talent hidden, otherwise the threat of this Worm King will increase several times. Yi Tian did not say a word, and directly copied these three talents. Immediately, he released the ability to duplicate the body, and the duplicate body disintegrated and dissipated in an instant, giving the Worm King no chance to swallow it. Quote. The Insect King was very puzzled. How did the little bug just now disappear? It didn't think too much, and immediately went to chase and kill other Taoist ancestors. Chapter 1235 The Half-Step Domain Ancestor of the Return to One Realm. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The Insect King is almost invincible, and all the Taoist ancestors who are chased and killed by it have almost no way to escape, and they are all killed and swallowed by it one by one. Just after the Insect King caught up for a while, a figure stopped the Insect King. This man was wearing a black robe and wearing a white mask, and slapped the Insect King with one hand, showing an incomparably terrifying combat power. It's a pity, it's just a stunted Worm King. If you are the real Worm King, I'd be afraid of you for 3 points. The man opened his mouth. Roar. The Insect King was angry and killed the man. However, no matter how it attacks, it can't hurt the man at all, and a casual blow from a man can hurt it. Its carapace, which is said to surpass the defense of the third and half-step domain ancestors, gradually began to crack, and purple blood flowed out, and the blood spilled into the void. The Insect King's wisdom is not low, knowing that he is not a man's opponent, and is ready to escape. However, as soon as the man pointed, this piece of void seemed to be separated from the outside world, and no matter how the Insect King escaped, he would not be able to escape here. Don't run away, this is my taboo technique. infinite void, unless you have the 467 segment of the attacker of the domain ancestor level, you can break this place, otherwise you can't leave here forever. The man said lightly. Unexpected. A taboo spear was directly condensed by the man, and it came with terrifying taboo rules. Bang! The insect king was blown away by a single blow, and the carapace on his body cracked directly, and a small hole appeared. In this way, the insect king was constantly beaten, and he was seriously injured in a short time. Don't worry, I won't kill you. A live forbidden insect king is much more valuable than a dead forbidden insect king. If you hand over the source of your soul, I don't have to kill you. The man said. However, the insect king is not afraid of death at all, and naturally he will not hand over the origin of his soul. I saw it angrily attacking the man, and even though it was seriously injured, it refused to surrender. Seeing this, the man sighed. Well, I can only inflict heavy damage on you first, and then slowly subdue you. Boom! The man turned into a giant with a body of hundreds of millions of feet, and immediately performed a boxing-type forbidden Dao technique, punching the forbidden insect king with one punch. With a bang, the void exploded, and the forbidden insect king was severely injured by a punch, and his body flew hundreds of thousands of miles upside down. Immediately, the man's giant hand grabbed the forbidden insect king at once, and the terrifying force caused the forbidden insect king's body to crack and his breath became weaker and weaker. When the aura of the forbidden insect king weakened to a certain extent, and there was almost no way to resist, the man took out a sealed treasure, ready to seal the forbidden insect king in and take it away. But at this moment, a ray of light came through the void. Boom! The man stretched out his hand to block this light attack, but a small blood hole was punched in the palm of his hand. You must know that the attack of the forbidden insect king did not cause him any damage, but the unknown attack broke his defense. It can be seen that the enemy is not weak. Wow! The man looked towards the void in the distance, and a man shrouded in mist appeared there, looking at the man. Half-step domain ancestor of the limit of the One Realm, who are you? Your breath is very unfamiliar, I have never heard of it. The man opened his mouth. The half-step ancestor of the second step is generally called the half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. The physical body of the realm of all things or the forbidden way of all things cannot be regarded as the real half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. Only the physical body and the forbidden way have all entered the realm of all things. The realm is called the half-step domain ancestor of the realm of all things. But if the third step is reached, the realm of all things in the flesh and the forbidden way, the realm of all things, will reach the level of ultimate perfection. If the fleshly body and the forbidden way are completely integrated, the forbidden body reaches 100% perfection, and if one grasps the true meaning of the domain ancestor, one can enter the domain ancestor level. In fact, any half-step domain ancestors will cultivate step by step, and they will be able to enter the domain ancestor level with endless years, but some half-step domain ancestors need too long, so long that it is difficult for them to wait any longer. Not every half-step ancestor can survive slowly, so many half-step ancestors also want to find opportunities, speed up their cultivation, and cultivate to the realm of unification as soon as possible so that they can hit the ancestor level. And this mysterious person shrouded in fog is a half-step domain ancestor who has reached the limit of normalization, and is only one step away from the domain ancestor level. For the variance, it is only the integration of the forbidden Tao in the physical body, or the forbidden body has not reached 100% perfection, or the true meaning of the ancestors has not yet been grasped. In short, the other party must be missing a condition, so they did not step into the domain ancestor level. However, such a half-step ancestor of the unification realm must have been famous, but it is difficult to identify who it is. After all, if the years are too long and they haven't come out for a long time, who knows who they are? The mysterious man looked at the masked man and said with a laugh, "Your Excellency should be the master of Function Mountain of Haifeng Mountain, right?" The masked man, the mountain master of Function, said in surprise, "I didn't expect you to know me. Could it be that you are someone from the Heavenly Emperor Palace?" No, the Heavenly Emperor Palace should not have a half-step domain ancestor like you, and even the Heavenly Emperor. The ancestors of the Hao Hai Sea in the palace do not necessarily know the situation of our Haifeng Mountain. I didn't say I came from the Heavenly Emperor Palace. The mysterious man sneered. The Heavenly Emperor Palace is indeed very powerful, but it is only the ancestor of the Hao Hai Sea. Gong is just an ordinary Zhouzhongtian force, not as strong as your Haifeng Mountain. Hao Hai ancestor is too greedy, and the things he wants to get are too big, and his steps are too big to provoke many domain ancestors. He thought that by throwing 1/3 of the domain fragments into the dark forbidden area, he would be able to implement his plan by taking a gamble. But he didn't know how powerful existence sneaked into the domain fragments. Function Mountain Lord, you could have easily left the shards of the realm, and I am afraid that you know that the shards of the realm can find new realms, otherwise you would dare to go deep into the dark forbidden area so easily. So, Your Excellency is not the half-step ancestor of the Heavenly Emperor Palace. Function Mountain Lord smiled and said, you are right about one thing, I do know that the fragments of the realm can find new realms, otherwise I don't dare to take Function on an adventure. Your Excellency should know this, or else you wouldn't say it. I wonder if you know the origin of the treasure that was integrated into the domain fragment. I don't know, the mysterious human said. I only know that the treasure can find the realm in the dark forbidden realm, and evolve the world. Once the world evolves into a forbidden realm, it will continue to devour a realm, and thus evolve into a realm that can be called a forbidden realm. An unprecedented huge world. The God Heaven realm is too powerful, and how High Sea Ancestor dare not do this in the God Heaven realm, otherwise he will be killed by some ancient ancestors before he completes the plan. Therefore, he tried to take a risk to find another realm, to implement his plan. But unfortunately, there should be many people who know this plan, he is destined to be busy for nothing. Ha ha ha, how do you know that he will be busy in vain? Function Mountain Master said with a smile. How High Ancestor left his trump card in his backhand, you and I don't know. Moreover, the taboo world is 10%, and the Tiandi Palace is positioned. If the ancestor of the sea has not fallen, he will definitely find it. At that time, he will control this place, and it will not be a problem. After all, he is a late-stage master of the ancestor, not a new ancestor who entered the ancestor. The mysterious man did not deny it, but nodded. You are right, we do know how Jesus backhand, but I know very well that you High Function also have their own plans in this matter, even how Jesus Sea Ancestor got that treasure, and the news is also leaked by you. After all, you High Function can't deal with how High Sea Ancestor, you can only use other domain ancestors, even you know more secrets than me. 1. You said these things, we won't admit it. Function Mountain Master denied. Ha ha ha, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it, I'm not against you this time. The mysterious man said, I want half of this Worm King's blood and part of his body, it doesn't matter if a Worm King loses these blood and body. Will it die, or will it grow to 5.8, isn't this an excessive requirement? Not too much, Function Mountain Lord agreed. Immediately, he directly cut half of the Insect King's body and handed it over to the mysterious man. Then, the mysterious man left. When Feng Shan saw the mysterious man disappear, he couldn't help frowning. Isn't it from the Heavenly Emperor Palace, could it be those from the ancestors of the domain? Of course, it is also possible that the half-step ancestor of the Tiandi Palace said this on purpose. In short, the situation in the ancient world of Xuanxu is becoming more and more complicated. In the distance, the mysterious man looked in the direction of Function Mountain Master and murmured, Function Mountain Master is very strong, I almost punched hard, but it only broke his defense but didn't hurt him very much. It is also infinitely close to the half-step domain ancestor of the limit level of the unified realm. Moreover, is this his body? It is rumored that the owner of Function Mountain is the ancestor of the domain, but today it seems that it is not. But what if this is the avatar of Function Mountain Lord? Master Function, we will meet again in the future. The mysterious man escaped into the void and disappeared completely. Chapter 1236 Worries of the Emperor and #039's Palace. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Soon after, many Taoist ancestors discovered that the Insect King had disappeared. Not long after, High Function sent Daozu to investigate and found that the Insect King really disappeared, and sent a large number of Daozu to enter the Taboo Zerg lair again, killing the remaining Taboo Zerg one by one, and the Taboo Zerg was destroyed. As soon as the Forbidden Insect Tree was destroyed, the Forbidden Insect Clan's nest was not broken, but it was not as strong as before. Moreover, the Forbidden Zerg lair has lost its previous breeding ability, and there is no way to give birth to a new Forbidden Zerg. Unless after a long period of evolution, a new Forbidden Insect Tree will be born again inside the Forbidden Zerg lair. But the ancient world of Xuanxu will not allow this to happen, and will definitely be stationed here. High Function moved quickly, and immediately removed the valuable things inside the Forbidden Zerg lair, and transformed it into a base a little bit here. The action of the Tiandi Palace was a little slower. After all, they didn't know that the Insect King had disappeared. When the Taoist ancestors of the Tiandi Palace entered the Forbidden Zerg lair, it was just empty, and there was nothing left, and even the fragments of the Forbidden Insect Tree disappeared. Tiandi Palace 29, Palace Master Jinwu, Palace Master Qinglong, Palace Master Junwu, Palace Master Baihu, and many other palace masters are starting a meeting, and the content of the meeting is exactly about the king of insects. Everyone, have you found any news about the insect king? The Golden Crow Palace Master asked. I can't find it. Qinglong Palace Master shook his head. The Worm King suddenly disappeared. It stands to reason that the Worm King will not continue to chase and kill us, and it is impossible to abandon the taboo Zerg nest. But now, the Worm King has really disappeared. The forbidden Zerg lair has been transformed by the Black Wind Mountain. I think the Black Wind Mountain should know what happened to the Bug King, otherwise the Black Wind Mountain will not be so daring. 1. Could it be that the powerhouse of high function killed the Insect King? The White Tiger Palace Lord guessed. Thinking of this possibility, the White Tiger Palace Master and other palace masters became worried. After all, how powerful the Forbidden Insect King is, even the Golden Crow Palace Master is not an opponent. Such a powerful Forbidden Insect King, even the third step half-step domain ancestor, the half-step domain ancestor of the reunification realm, is difficult to kill it. If this Forbidden Insect King is given a little more time, it can increase its strength to return to one state. At that time, except for a few half-step ancestors of the normalization realm, only the ancestors can kill it. If Haifeng Mountain really killed this Forbidden Insect King, it means that Haifeng Mountain has at least a half-step ancestor who is in the realm of reunification. It's not necessarily that High Function killed the Forbidden Insect King, maybe it's something else. The Golden Crow Palace Master said quickly. He said so, but in fact he was also very worried. On the bright side, he is the strongest palace lord of the Tiandi Palace, but in fact there are several ancient palace lords in the Tiandi Palace, who belong to the same group as the ancestors of Hao Hai-Si. Hao Hai-Si ancestor was not the master of the Heavenly Emperor Palace at the beginning, but also gradually became stronger from weak to invincible Dao ancestor, half-step domain ancestor, and then to the domain ancestor level. Strictly speaking, Hao Hai-Heizu should be regarded as the second-generation Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Emperor Palace, and the first-generation Heavenly Emperor also had many ancient and powerful palace masters, and some of them were stronger than him. It's just that after Hao Hai-Si ancestor took charge of Hao Hai-Si realm, those ancient palace masters traveled to Divine Heaven Realm and Dark Forbidden Realm. Before the Battle of the Broken Domain, the ancient palace masters also returned, and now they have also come to the ancient world of Xuanshu, but they are still in a deep sleep state, and they will not wake up unless it is a last resort. And their strengths are all at the half-step ancestor level of the realm of all things. They are the real realm of all things, and they are not very far from the realm of unity. One of them is even comparable to the top half-step ancestor of the realm of all things. But the ancient palace lord couldn't kill the low-profile version of the Forbidden Insect King. If High Function has the strength to destroy the Forbidden Insect King, it is enough to prove that the strength of High Function surpasses their Heavenly Emperor Palace, which is not a good thing. Although the Heavenly Emperor Palace has trump cards, some trump cards cannot be easily moved, otherwise the Heavenly Emperor Palace will lose its dominant position and will no longer be able to deter other forces. These palace masters have been discussing for a long time, and there is no countermeasure. They can only try their best to investigate this matter. At the same time, they also need to use the many treasures obtained from the Dark-Winged Dapeng Eagle to improve their strength, and try to add a few more ancestors of the realm of all things to the Heavenly Emperor Palace. The other side, Yi Tian returned to the human world of the ancient world of Xuanshu. Now the matter of the Forbidden Insect race is over. Although he does not know what happened to the Forbidden Insect King, he does not care much. In short, he no longer needs to enter the Dark Forbidden area to hunt and kill Forbidden Zerg, and he can improve his strength with peace of mind. Yi Tian merged the 3 taboo talents that he copied from the Insect King one by one. Taboo talents, Dark Spear and taboo talents. Purple armor is not too precious for Yi Tian. After all, he already has taboo talents. Dark Spear, although there is no purple armor, it has also copied a similar forbidden talent from the Dark-Winged Dapeng Eagle. However, the forbidden talent, Perception, is relatively rare, and it is the first time that he has copied the forbidden talent of Perception. After the fusion, Yi Tian realized how powerful the perceptual taboo talent is. For example, if someone has the forbidden talent of Stealth 480, he can sense the existence of the other party by using the forbidden talent of Perception. Even if Wu Yang Jor used the Shadowless Step, he could sense the existence of the opponent with his perceptual talent. Possessing the perceptual taboo talent, Yi Tian can make up for his own shortcomings, and he is no longer afraid of others attacking him. Next, Yi Tian concentrates on improving his cultivation and comprehends the endless Tao. With the passage of time, Yi Tian's cultivation reached the ultimate level of the Supreme Tao Ancestor, and the power of his body, Forbidden Tao, and soul all reached the limit. Half a step. In addition, Yi Tian's Forbidden Tao technique is basically in a stagnant state. Unless he goes to comprehend the Eternal Origin Stone statue, there is no way to quickly improve his Forbidden Tao technique, and it will take a long time to progress. Of course, the so-called stagnation is for Yi Tian's previous progress, and for others and even for the half-step ancestors, Yi Tian's Forbidden Tao technique is incomparably fast, far exceeding the improvement of other half-step ancestors. In the days that followed, Yi Tian occasionally entered the Enlightenment Pagoda in function, to see the Eternal Origin Stone statue, occasionally returned to the human world to retreat and practiced, and occasionally went to instruct the Taoist ancestors of the human race. And just like that, 550,000 years have passed. Chapter 1237 5 Half-Step Ancestors of the Realm of All Things. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. More than 500,000 years have changed too much for the human race. There is no shortage of geniuses in the human race, and they have the advantage of time-lapse of the small taboo void world, so the growth rate is very fast, and a large number of Taoist ancestors have been born, and batches of Taoist ancestors of the 5th and 6th heavens have gradually appeared, and even a few of the 7th heaven ancestor. Of course, those 7th heavenly Tao ancestors were among the 9 extremes core, but they were also members of the human race. This day, Yi Tian summoned the 6 7th heavenly Tao ancestors and gave them 6 forbidden blood crystals. These 6 people are all 7-level heavenly Tao ancestors who have been promoted by the invincible true ancestor. They have good potential and have the potential to be promoted to the supreme Tao ancestor, but it is more difficult to master the dark taboo power. For Taoist ancestors, it would take a long time. Therefore, Yi Tian gave them 6 forbidden blood crystals, which could help them condense the dark forbidden power, so that they could easily reach the realm of the strongest Taoist ancestors. After these 6 7th-level heavenly Tao ancestors obtained the forbidden blood crystals, they went back to retreat and practice. They have been cultivating in the small taboo void world for a long time, and their cultivation base has already entered the peak of the 7th heavenly ancestor, and they are not ready to accumulate for a long time. Once they have refined the forbidden blood crystals and mastered the power of darkness and forbidden, wait until if the attainments of the dark taboo power are improved a little, one can start to attack the realm of strong Taoist ancestors. Therefore, the Zhuji Legion will soon give birth to 6 supreme Tao ancestors. In Haifeng Mountain, it is estimated that there are no 10 kings who have the legion of supreme Tao ancestors. After all, those supreme Tao ancestors cannot easily cultivate a supreme Tao ancestor. Perhaps there are 1 or 2 supreme Tao ancestors in the legions of those invincible Tao ancestors. Daozu. But like Yi Tian, it is almost impossible to cultivate 6 supreme Taoist ancestors at once. Yi Tian is also too rich, and even the most precious treasures such as forbidden blood crystal are taken out to train his subordinates. If other invincible Tao ancestors get one, they are reluctant to spend it on others, and try to use them as much as possible. Not long after, the 6 7th-level Tao ancestors broke through to the level of the strongest Tao ancestors one after another. Yi Tian divided the Zhuji Legion into 6 major legions, and each supreme Taoist ancestor was in charge of an army. In addition, these 6 supreme Taoist ancestors became the masters of the 6 temples of the human race, in charge of a temple, and manage the high-level human race. With these 6 supreme Taoist ancestors in charge of the human race, Yi Tian naturally has less to worry about and can devote himself to cultivation more wholeheartedly. And in these years, he often went to comprehend the Eternal Origin Stone statue, and he has many taboo talents, and many taboo talents are superimposed and merged with the same kind of taboo talents, which is very powerful. Therefore, the effect of his comprehension of the forbidden way far surpasses that of others. It can even be said that even the half-step ancestors are far less effective than his enlightenment. Now, he has cultivated one of the forbidden Tao techniques, the dark extreme Tao spear, to the realm of Dacheng, and several other forbidden Tao techniques have also reached the peak of Shaocheng. And according to Yi Tian's knowledge, many of the half-step ancestors' taboo techniques are only at the entry level, and there are only a handful of taboo techniques that have reached the minor level, and the half-step ancestors who have reached the big level seem to be very few. There are very few. I am afraid that even the half-step ancestors such as the Golden Crow Palace Master and the Mia Wei Daozu have not cultivated a forbidden Tao technique to the realm of mastery. After all, these half-step ancestors do not have taboo talents. It is too difficult to cultivate a taboo Taoism to the realm of mastery. It is not a long time to improve the taboo Taoism. This is a talent limitation. In addition, Yi Tian's endless Tao has also increased to nearly 60%, and it is not very far from the limit of endless Tao. Moreover, his forbidden Tao is far stronger than before, and his accomplishments are quite deep, but he is not sure how far he is from the realm of all things, but it must be a very long distance. According to Yi Tian's own estimation, he has surpassed the invincible Tao ancestor in all aspects except that the endless Tao has not reached the limit and cannot be promoted to the invincible Tao ancestor, and his combat power has reached an incredible level, which may be comparable to the invincible existence in the invincible Tao ancestor level. Even if he fights with a half-step domain ancestor like Magu Daozu, even if he loses, he can still kill one or two. This day, a large-scale taboo void world was born in the ancient world of Xuanshu. This incident caused an uproar, and the half-step ancestors of Haifeng Mountain and Tiandi Palace were dispatched one after another. The large-scale taboo void world has become the battlefield of the half-step domain ancestors, and the invincible Taoist ancestors and the supreme Taoist ancestors did not dare to participate in it. In the end, the large taboo void realm became the taboo void realm of Haifeng Mountain, a result that surprised many people. Before, the medium-sized forbidden void realm was taken away by Haifeng Mountain, because they participated in the Supreme Tao Ancestor level, and the Dark King was almost invincible at the Supreme Tao Ancestor level, so it was possible to take away the medium-sized forbidden void realm. But this time, the battle for the large-scale taboo void world involved the competition at the half-step domain ancestor level, and the Heavenly Emperor Palace actually lost. Tiandi Palace, Palace Master Jinwu, Palace Master Qinglong and other palace masters were all seriously injured, and everyone looked very bad. Golden Crow Palace Master, Haifeng Mountain has gone too far this time, and even sent a half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, otherwise our Heavenly Emperor Palace will not be suppressed. Qinglong Palace Master said angrily. We must wake up those ancient half-step ancestors of the realm of all things. The Golden Crow Palace Master sighed. Agree. Second. 1. A Palace Master agreed. If there is no half-step ancestor of the realm of all things, the Tiandi Palace will be suppressed everywhere, and life will be too aggrieved. Soon, the Golden Crow Palace Master and the others came to an ancient bronze gate in the depths of the Tiandi Palace and opened the bronze gate. At this time, a sound came from behind the ancient giant gate. Jinwu, what happened to the Heavenly Emperor's palace, to wake me up so quickly? Whoa. The 5 half-step ancestors came out, and the breath of their body made all the palace masters tremble. These are the half-step ancestors of the 5 realms of all things, and they are also the 5 most powerful palace lords in the Tiandi Palace. They are so ancient that many new palace lords do not know them, but they only know that the Tiandi Palace has these 5 ancient palace lords. Lord Dragon Shadow Palace, Mysterious Turtle Palace Master, Master of the Sky Palace. 1. Heavenly Punishment Palace Lord, Lord of the Thunder Tribulation. The Golden Crow Palace Master addressed the 5 palace masters one by one, and also made several new palace masters aware of their existence. Immediately, the Golden Crow Palace Master said again, the 5 money palace masters, if the Emperor's palace is in a bad situation today, the hidden strength of Haifeng Mountain is beyond our expectations, and there is no way to wake you up. When the 5 palace masters learned about the situation of the Xuanshu ancient world and the strength of Haifengtian, they all frowned. Haifeng Mountain is not weaker than our Heavenly Emperor Palace, and even surpasses our Heavenly Emperor Palace. Before Hao Hai Si Ancestor arrives, we must find a way to create a half-step ancestor of the reunification realm, otherwise we will not be able to compete with Haifeng Mountain. The Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace said. To create a half-step ancestor of the unification realm. The Golden Crow Palace Master frowned. How did you create this? Everyone wants to become the ancestor of the half-step domain of the unification realm, but this is obviously not something that can be achieved overnight. Master of the Golden Crow Palace, you don't know much about the true background of the Heavenly Emperor's palace. Naturally, ordinary forces can't do it, but our Heavenly Emperor's palace can do it. This is a great secret, but it's okay to tell you now. The Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace smiled. Road. As the Dragon Shadow Palace Master slowly told the story, many palace masters knew what was going on. Chapter 1238 The Gate of Stone Eyes. The Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace said, our Heavenly Emperor Palace has a supreme treasure, called the Gate of Stone Eyes. Once you enter the Gate of Stone Eyes and cultivate in it, after 100 million years, the outside world will only pass a moment. We can open a total of 100,000 instants. The Gate of Stone Eyes is made from the eyeballs of the forbidden creature, the Stone Eye Beast, and there are 7 stone pupils on the Gate of Stone Eyes, and each use will consume 1 stone. Tong. At the beginning, the first generation of heavenly emperors used the gate of stone pupils, and the second generation of heavenly emperors, How High Sea ancestor, also used the gate of stone pupils. In short, you must have a great contribution to use the gate of stone pupils. Nowadays, the gate of stone pupils is used. There are still 3 stone pupils on the door, which were originally unusable. But now is an extraordinary period, we are going to use the stone pupil door once. The gate of stone eyes. Many palace masters were extremely shocked. They did not expect that the heavenly emperor palace would have such a treasure, and they were astonishingly ignorant before. The white tiger palace master is not surprised. He knows the gate of the stone pupil. After all, he is the son of the ancestors of the How High Sea. Although he is only one of the many descendants, he is also the most accomplished descendant, so he knows many secrets. However, he has never seen the gate of stone eyes, because the gate of stone eyes is too precious and expensive. It is one of the real trump cards of the Tiandi Palace. Except for the ancestors of How High Sea, no one else can enter the gate of stone eyes to practice. Moreover, there is no way for other people to enter the gate of the stone pupil privately, because when entering the gate of the stone pupil, they must make an oath of life, not to enter the gate of the stone pupil for selfishness. This is also to prevent a certain generation of emperors from abusing the stone pupil. The door, causing the stone pupil door to become a waste. Where is the gate of stone eyes? Palace Master Qinglong was curious. The other palace masters also looked towards the Dragon Shadow Palace Master, waiting for the answer from the Dragon Shadow Palace Master. It's okay to tell you guys. The Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace said, the gate of stone eyes is not in the Heavenly Emperor Palace, because the time rules contained in the stone eyes above the gate of stone eyes are too powerful, and ordinary formations can't hide the time of stone eyes at all. The power of rules. If it is placed in the Tiandi Palace, it will be easily discovered by everyone. In that case, the gate of the stone pupil will no longer be a secret. Therefore, the gate of the stone pupil is hidden in a special time and space, and this time and space the realm is integrated with the long river of time and space of the How High Sea. At first, 1/3 of the How High realm was cut off, and the long river of time and space was also cut off. Now, the Shatong time and space realm should be integrated into the long river of time and space in the ancient world of Xuanxu, and it keeps moving. If there is no special method, there is no way to find that space-time realm. At this time, the palace master Lei Jia opened his mouth and said, the secret technique for locating the realm of time and space can only be known by the 5 palace masters, and the 3 palace masters must work together to determine the position of the realm of time and space. A palace lord is easily unrealistic, otherwise once more than 3 people fall, the space-time boundary will disappear completely. But soon, they had a question, who should let them enter the gate of the stone eye to practice? I choose to give up, my potential is exhausted, even if I enter the gate of stone pupils to practice, I am not sure that I will practice to the realm of unity. Shuangui Palace Master said. Later, the Sky Palace Master also chose to give up, because he could not cultivate to the realm of unity. Although the gate of stone eyes can greatly increase the speed of cultivation and give them countless time, if they have no potential, even if they are given endless time, it will be difficult for them to improve to the level of unity. In theory, half-step domain ancestors can hit the domain ancestor level, but it is only theoretical. If many half-step domain ancestors really think that they can reach the domain ancestor level 100%, it would be too stupid. Many half-step ancestors have cultivated for a long time, so long that their wills have begun to doubt themselves, and their Tao hearts have collapsed. Some half-step ancestors hid in a no-man's land and worked hard for billions of cosmic years. As a result, their Taoism collapsed and fell to their deaths. Therefore, most half-step domain ancestors have no hope of becoming domain ancestors at all. Lord Dragon Shadow Palace CJFI, you are the most powerful and have potential. If you enter the gate of stone eyes, you should be able to become a united state, not even a normal united state. The Thunder Tribulation Palace Master suggested road. The next step is to vote, whether to let the Dragon Shadow Palace Master go. And the Palace Master of Heavenly Punishment also wants to enter, after all, this is a great opportunity. But in the end, the Dragon Shadow Palace Master had the most supporters and got the chance to enter. The Dragon Shadow Palace Master, the Thunder Tribulation Palace Master, the Heaven Punishment Palace Master, the Shuangui Palace Master, the Sky Palace Master, and the 5 major Palace Masters all used their secret techniques to guide the time and space in the long river of time and space. This is almost 100% possible. Position. Boom. Time and space oscillated, and a space-time channel appeared. In the perception of many palace masters, a time and space world stands in the long river of time and space. They even saw a vast sea stone gate standing in the realm of time and space through the realm of time and space. This stone gate is the gate of stone pupils, with 7 huge stone pupils on it, 4 of which have been closed, leaving only 3 stone pupils exuding taboo rules. The Dragon Shadow Palace Lord walked into the space-time passage, entered the space-time realm, and then entered the stone pupil gate. When the Dragon Shadow Palace Lord completely entered the door of the stone pupil, the door of the stone pupil was closed, and a stone pupil began to slowly close. Moment, 2 moments, 3 moments, time passed slowly. For other palace masters, this time was very short. However, every moment of time passed, the Dragon Shadow Palace Master was equivalent to countless years of ascetic cultivation in the Gate of Stone Eyes. Unconsciously, 10,000 moments passed, and a stone pupil was completely closed, losing the regular fluctuations, and became a closed ordinary stone pupil. Crack! The door of the stone pupil opened, and a figure that exuded loneliness, indifference and violent aura walked out. Finally out, the Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace sighed. It was too lonely and tormented in the dark space. If he hadn't been able to feel the progress all the time, he wouldn't be able to support it at all. But the end result is good. He broke through the forbidden way and the physical body reached the ultimate perfection of the realm of all things, completed the unity of all things, realized the complete transformation of the body, and the forbidden body also reached the tempering level of 97%. In addition, 3 of his forbidden Tao techniques have reached the Dacheng realm, and all the others have reached the peak realm of minor achievements. It can be said that he is already a real half-step ancestor of the Oneness realm, and he is not a weak half-step ancestor of the Oneness realm, but a relatively powerful ancestor of the half-step domain of the Oneness realm. Even if he encounters the top half-step ancestor of the Unified realm, he can still fight against it, so that he will not have no resistance and will not be easily killed. Congratulations to the Lord of the Dragon Shadow Palace. Many Palace Masters, congratulations. Chapter 1239 The Danger of the God of War Tower. The Dragon Shadow Palace Master nodded slightly, and immediately let the many Palace Masters disperse. And then, the Dragon Shadow Palace Master didn't practice. He practiced for too long, and his whole human mind almost went wrong, so he needed to relax. The fact that the Dragon Shadow Palace Master became the ancestor of the half-step domain of the Unification realm did not cause any changes in the outside world, and even the outside world did not know that the Heavenly Emperor Palace had the title Dragon Shadow Palace Master. With the passage of time, more and more forbidden treasures were born in the ancient world of Xuanshu, but the small forbidden world was not born again, only the medium-sized forbidden world was born one after another, 7 or 8. Almost all of these taboo void worlds were divided up by Tiandi Palace and Haifeng Mountain, and the other 3 forces of the 9 heavens were unable to snatch them. With the passage of time, more and more powerful Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors were born in the ancient world of Xuanshu. In the past, it was too difficult for a Taoist ancestor to condense the power of darkness and taboos, but now he has many treasures that allow Taoist ancestors to give birth to the power of darkness and taboos. Even the 3 major 9th level forces and some 8th level forces have the means to cultivate several supreme Taoist ancestors. In the past, the status of a supreme Taoist ancestor was very high, almost the ruler of the ancient world of Xuanshu, but now it seems to be sparse and common. If you don't have the strength of the invincible Daozu, you wouldn't even dare to be a little arrogant. After all, more and more powerhouses appeared in the ancient world of Xuanshu, and even the half-step ancestors appeared one after another. During this period of time, many of the powers that were only the ordinary Taoist ancestors or the 3rd and 4th heaven Taoist ancestors were destroyed one by one. For example, if there is a forbidden treasure near a certain force, the force may not exist the next day. This day, a forbidden treasure land appeared near the force of the God of War Tower, and it was a large forbidden treasure land. The value of the large forbidden treasure land is far inferior to that of the forbidden void world, but it has also attracted many Taoist ancestors. After all, there will be at least a dozen forbidden treasures and a large number of forbidden treasures born in such large forbidden treasures. No one does not need forbidden treasures, and some forbidden treasures are of high value, even to the invincible Daozu. Great help. More importantly, this forbidden treasure is too close to the God of War Tower. Even at this time, the evacuation of the Tower of the God of War was too late, because other forces would suspect that the Tower of the God of War had taken away the more precious forbidden treasures, and it was impossible to let the Tower of the God of War leave. Of course, the main reason is that the God of War Tower is too weak. Due to the fact that the God of War Tower was relatively weak before, it did not gain any benefits from the Forbidden Zerg event and the Darkwing Dapong Eagle, and did not participate in the competition for the Forbidden Void Realm, so its strength increased slowly. At present, the God of War Tower has only one 5th level Taoist ancestor, dozens of 4th level Taoist ancestors, and about 300 other Taoist ancestors, which are many, many times stronger than in the past. But this kind of strength is too weak in the ancient world of Xuanxu, and it is not worth mentioning at all. At this time, the God of War Pagoda was clouded with sorrow, and they had already felt that one Taoist ancestor came out of nowhere, including the 7th level Heavenly Taoist ancestor and the strongest Taoist ancestor. Tower Master, ask for the protection of Zontianzong. A 3-level Heavenly Tao ancestor asked. It's useless. The Tower Master of the God of War said desperately, the Zontian sect will not help us. Although we have taken refuge in the Zontian sect, the Zontian sect is only the power of the 8th heaven. So far, there has not been an invincible Taoist ancestor, how can we dare to bless us? If they bless us, the loss must be heavy, they will not be so stupid. At this time, a group of Taoist ancestors have come to Zontian sect. This is a group of Taoist ancestors from the 6th and 7th levels. They are not in a hurry to enter the large forbidden treasure land, but want to benefit from the Tower of the God of War, and even want to arrest some Taoist ancestors to lead out the big fear. There is no way, the weak is just like this, unable to dominate his own life. Everyone, our Zontian sect has never been to that large forbidden treasure, and we have not obtained any treasures. The Tower Master of the God of War hurriedly said. In fact, the Taoist ancestor of the God of War Tower did enter the large forbidden treasure land and obtained many forbidden strange objects, but he let those Taoist ancestors come out in time. But all this, he dare not tell these Taoist ancestors. HMPH, when will this large forbidden treasure land be born? I don't know. If it was born early, you will take out all the good things. A 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor said coldly. For flowers. Just as the War God Tower Master wanted to explain, the group of Taoist ancestors acted directly and did not want to talk nonsense at all. After all, time was very important to them, and it was impossible to waste time on the War God Tower. Boom! The 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors' strike was bombarded on the War God Tower's protectors array, but this formation could only stop the 6th Heavenly Tao ancestors' attack. Can block a blow. I saw that after this blow, the great array of War God Tower and Protector sect was cracked. And other Taoist ancestors also shot, instantly smashed the Guardian formation. I fought with you. The Lord of the God of War Pagoda burned his flesh and soul, and exploded with a full-strength blow comparable to the 6th level Heavenly Tao ancestor, hitting the 7th level Heavenly Tao ancestor. 0. However, all this was in vain. The 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor knocked out the God of War Pagoda Master with just one punch. God of War Tower Lord has fallen. Tower Master. The Taoist ancestors and the true ancestors of the God of War Tower shouted in despair. These Taoist ancestors did not kill the people in the Tower of the God of War, but were about to arrest these Taoist ancestors, only to see that they easily captured a famous Taoist ancestor and brought them into the body world. Among the many Taoist ancestors of the God of War Pagoda, Yunzi Taoist is also a relatively powerful one. Due to his good luck and high potential, he is now the 4th level Taoist ancestor, and the top 4 level Taoist ancestor of the God of War Tower. In the future, even there is hope to take the helm of the God of War Tower. But now, she has also been stared at by a 6th level Taoist ancestor, only to see that the other party transformed into a giant hand and grabbed her. This power far exceeded her imagination, and she could not shake the opponent with all her strength. Attack. Quote! Quote, Goddess Yunzi said in despair. But at this moment, a spear pierced the body of the 6th level Heavenly Tao ancestor. And in the void, a powerful 6th-7th level Heavenly Tao ancestor was pierced by spears one after another. In an instant, the many Taoist ancestors who came to commit the Tower of the God of War were all killed in seconds. Exclamation mark. A figure emerged, appeared in front of Goddess Yunzi, smiled and said, Goddess Yunzi, long time no see. Goddess Yunzi looked at the familiar face in front of her, and said in shock, the ancestor of the way. Chapter 1240 The Big Terrifying Phantom That Actively Attacked. The Taoist ancestor who suddenly appeared was Yi Tian. Yi Tian led a group of human race Taoist ancestors to this large forbidden treasure land to snatch forbidden strange objects and forbidden treasures. He happened to sense that something happened to the God of War Tower, so he personally came over. After all, he is familiar with the goddess Yunzi. If he can't see it, it's fine, but now that he has seen it, it is naturally impossible to ignore it. Thank you Wanfa Daozu. A famous Taoist ancestor who survived the Tower of the God of War quickly expressed his gratitude. Let's go quickly, otherwise there are quite a few forces that want to destroy your God of War pagoda. Yi Tian reminded. Yes. The Taoist ancestors of the God of War pagoda quickly left here with the real ancestors, true monarchs, heavenly monarchs and many treasures of the pagoda of the God of War, and directly abandoned the pagoda headquarters. And the goddess Yunzi also left with the Taoist ancestors of the God of War Tower, and did not participate in the battle for the large-scale forbidden treasure. After all, a place like the big, 480, type forbidden treasure land does not have the strength of the 6th or 7th level Taoist ancestors, and is not qualified to compete at all, and even the 7th level Taoist ancestors are very likely to fall. If she dares to enter the large forbidden treasure land, it is estimated that the probability of her falling is as high as 99%. While flying, the goddess Yunzi looked at the direction of the large forbidden treasure, and muttered in her heart, Yi Tian, thank you. Yi Tian has rescued her many times, but she has nothing to repay, so she feels very ashamed. At the same time, she also expressed many emotions. Once upon a time, she was also as famous as Yi Tian, but now the gap between the two sides is so big. In the past, she could at least see Yi Tian's back, but now she can't even see her back. In Yi Tian's eyes, the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor who beheaded the Tower Master of the God of War at will, is an ant that can be killed easily. One can imagine how powerful Yi Tian is. The person who saved the Tower of the God of War was just a small episode for Yi Tian. At this moment he had come to a large forbidden treasure land. This large-scale forbidden treasure land is the appearance of the water world. The endless sea covers the entire forbidden treasure land, and the sea is dotted with isolated islands, and these isolated islands breed many forbidden strange things. Therefore, every isolated island is the target of the Taoist ancestors. Yi Tian's strength is so powerful that he has easily collected a large number of forbidden strange objects, and no one dares to compete with him. An isolated island in a large forbidden treasure. A forbidden treasure was born, and the strong fluctuations of the forbidden rules spread, attracting the attention of many Taoist ancestors, and they came quickly one by one. When they arrived, they found that things were different from what they had imagined. The corpses of Taoist ancestors lay on the isolated island, but there was no trace of battle on the isolated island, as if these Taoist ancestors were obliterated by an invisible force. This strange scene made many Taoist ancestors cautious and even dare not step into the isolated island easily. However, some people are not afraid of this scene. I saw a 7th level Taoist ancestor rushed into the isolated island, trying to snatch the forbidden treasure. After all, the forbidden treasure is almost the target of the supreme Tao ancestor and the invincible Tao ancestor. There is almost no chance for a 7th level Tao ancestor to snatch it, but now that the supreme Tao ancestor and the invincible Tao ancestor have not arrived, they are the 7th level Tao ancestor. Therefore, if he grabs it first and then runs away desperately, there is a high possibility that he will leave here. In an instant, he came to the island and saw the forbidden treasure. This forbidden treasure is a black circular piece of wood, 3 meters in diameter and 10 meters high, and an illusory image appeared on the black wood, which seemed to be a tiny dapeng suspended here. This 7th level Taoist ancestor knew that this forbidden treasure would cause great terror, so he threw a forbidden bloodline creature from the inner world in an attempt to induce great terror. When the forbidden bloodline creature collided with the black wood, the figure disintegrated instantly, and the great terror was drawn out. However, something unexpected happened to the 7th heavenly Tao ancestor. I saw that Dapeng Phantom stretched out a paw and grabbed directly to the 7th level Taoist ancestor. How come? The 7th heavenly Tao ancestor was dumbfounded. How can the big terror take the initiative to attack people? It's not always whoever touches the big terror will be attacked. Escape. He wanted to escape, but as soon as this phantom caught him, his whole body seemed to be frozen, and he couldn't move at all. Wow! Grabbing it with one claws, the body of the 7th level Taoist ancestor was cracked, his soul collapsed, and he completely fell and died. Off the island, many Taoist ancestors sensed the fall of this 7th level Taoist ancestor, and finally knew how the previous Taoist fell. It was directly obliterated by the Great Terror, and it was actively obliterated. This thing is so weird. For a time, no Taoist ancestor dared to enter this isolated island again. Wow, a supreme Taoist ancestor came here, and he was very curious to see that these Taoist ancestors did not enter the island. What happened here? Why did no one enter the isolated island to snatch that forbidden treasure? Xingluan Daozu, the most powerful Taoist ancestor, asked. Xinglu and Daozu, the big terrifying phantom drawn by the forbidden treasure will attack people directly, and all those Daozu who entered the isolated island were silently obliterated. A 7th-level Taoist explained. How is this possible? Xinglu and Daozu didn't quite believe it, but others said the same, so he had to believe it. At this point, he was hesitant. He is undoubtedly the strongest here. If he snatched the forbidden treasure, it must belong to him, no one can resist. And the mentally handicapped and other supreme Taoist ancestors and invincible Taoist ancestors came, then he would not have his share. Danger and opportunity coexist. Done. Xinglu and Daozu gritted his teeth. Immediately, he attacked some of the weaker 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors, and streaks of starlight bound them. Anyway, these 7th Heavenly Tao ancestors are not Tao ancestors of their own forces, so it doesn't matter if they are killed. I'm sorry, Xinglu and Daozu secretly said. Dozens of the 7th Heavenly Tao ancestor were captured by Xinglu and Tao ancestor and brought into the isolated island by him. Then, Xinglu and Daozu threw all these dozens of 7th-level Daozu to the Black Wood Taboo treasure, and at the same time threw out many forbidden bloodline creatures suppressed by the internal world. With so many Taoist ancestors and forbidden bloodline creatures, he didn't believe that he couldn't counteract the 5.8 terror. He believed that the reason why the ancestors of the previous Tao would fall was because the Great Terror was too powerful to be counteracted, which would lead to the death of the Great Terror. Do not, Xinglu and Daozu, you must not die. We are dead, and you have to die too. A Taoist ancestor scolded angrily. Wow, the Great Terror was drawn out, the bodies of the Taoist ancestors froze and cracked, their souls were instantly annihilated, and even those forbidden bloodline creatures died in an instant. However, even so, the Great Terror has not disappeared. Swish! An illusory claw attacked Xinglu and Daozu. Impossible! Xinglu and Daozu was completely panicked and couldn't believe this scene. Puff! The phantom claws ignored his defenses and the forbidden weapon-level defense armor, and passed directly through his body, his eyes gradually dimmed.